top of my head, went on for a month. Against the Japanese Far East, it was horrendous. My grandfather joined the Marines. He was 34 years old. He was as old as you get. His brother-in-law was a very, very strong man. He's too, and he fought at Guadalajara. These are men who were in the street, like so many Americans back then. Most of my ancestors come out of Russia. Depending on when you look at the map, some come out of Ukraine. Russia. It's been a militaristic regime. The Tsar, the communists, now under the KGB. The old KGB, that would be Cuban. Funny how his supporters never mentioned his past, but I'll get to that. These were men who made money by scrapping together their jobs. One of the primary ways they made money was from Philadelphia to coal country in Pennsylvania, close to Pittsburgh for sure, in Philadelphia. It's a long drive. They take their shovels, they would physically put coal in the back of their truck, fill it up as high as they could, and they would drive back to Philadelphia and they would sell the coal. The coal was used for everything. To cook food, to warm the house in the winter, and so forth and so on. And they would do this as much as they could. And they didn't earn very much doing it either. But this is what they did. So they joined the Marines and they went off to war. They went off to war against the Axis powers, the Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, and fascistic Italy. But they were simply Pacific. And they went. They didn't have to be drafted. They were volunteers. He saw my grandfather horrific combat. The little dirty secret is we fought wars differently back then. Late at night, early in the morning, when it was very dark, the Marines could hear some of their comrades being captured. They could hear them screaming as they were being tortured. Tortured in the most horrendous ways. The way Hamas tortures citizens of Israel. The Japanese were not taking prisoners. They were killing them. The Marines, after a short while, decided that they would take less prisoners too. Many of these so-called prisoners who would put up their hands and surrender actually had booby-trapped their bodies and wound up killing our Marines, so the Marines took less prisoners. As they should have. It's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And that's the way you fight when it's hand-to-hand combat, and that's the way you fight when everything's on the line. It's your life or theirs. My grandfather was part of I don't know what they called a unit, I guess. 100 men, as I recall. If I recollect this properly. I was a young man when he told me this, and he didn't tell me much. Matter of fact, I was a young teenager. 12. He and a couple other guys were sent back to get ammunition. They were literally running out of the night. They put their lives on the line. They would get more bullets. They came back with more bullets. The entire unit had been overrun. They were all dead. That's the way war actually works. You didn't think about any Geneva Conventions or anything of the sort. The Japanese were brutal fighters. Their religion and their country were one and the same. The emperor was viewed as a godlike figure. Tojo, in many ways as well. They fought to the end. The kamikazes and the rest. In the end, that's why Truman had to drop 2 atomic bombs, put it into the war, and he would not accept anything but unconditional surrender. Period. Well, long story short, my grandfather would come home, as did his brother-in-law. He lost his voice while he was fighting on Iwo Jima, and he was fighting hard. He was a big man for his time. He was 6'2", 6'3". I remember when I first saw him, he wore a long leather coat, a Stetson. He had divorced, and he came into our lives. He reminded me of John Wayne, the way he walked, his long leather jacket, his Stetson. He walked into the house, and he had a Chihuahua in his pocket, which he gave to my mother as a gift, because he had 2 types of dogs at his house: German Shepherds and Chihuahuas, and he had a lot of them. It wasn't eccentric; it's just what they did back then. And he talked like this because he lost his voice while fighting an Iwo Jima. Obviously, a nerve effect. This was a very tough man. He'd been a boxer. I told you how he lived his life. He wasn't broken. He was still tough, but he was different. Different. He taught me, my grandfather, who fought in World War I and taught our troops how to ride motorcycles, and told my father, who was his father, don't ever let your kids ride motorcycles. He had a motorcycle accident once, and he spent days spitting up blood out of his lungs. This is the way it was back then. You know about my father. He was 17, and Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and he signed up for the Army Air Corps immediately. He passed the test, but he was rejected when they found out his age, and came back the next year, and he was accepted. He eventually wound up in the Army. He was not shipped overseas because the war wanted him at home, number one. Number two, the war came to an end. You can account for. My mother taught me something too. If you're in fear, don't show. Always tell the truth. Always be moral. Always stick to your principles. Life is too short to compromise your principles. You can compromise to get to your principles. Just don't compromise your principles. And this is how I live my life, and this is how I've always lived. So when people post talk online, I laugh. When they make threats online to me and others, I laugh. They claim to know what war's like. Most of these people don't have the foggiest idea. Most of them have never left the classroom. Or they were excited. They crowds of people who follow them and so forth and so on. But they've never been in a real fight. Not a real fight physically, and not a real fight intellectually. And I say this because we are red-blooded Americans. We are tough. We can debate, we can argue, we should. It's called free speech. That's who we are. That's what we do. But don't try and intimidate me, and don't try and intimidate other Americans. You've crossed the line. And you're just a punk. I think it's important. When we come back, I want you to know my computer's down, my printer's down, nothing's working. I'm going to do this entire show between my ears. I'm using my iPhone for sponsors, so forth, but I'm capable of it. It's okay. Some of my best shows are done when the computer's gone south. There's a lot of talk about Zelensky. A lot of people, not just the president. One guy posted that he's a CIA plant. That the CIA was capable of such things. It's barely capable of doing all the things it's supposed to do. But next thing they're going to remind us that he's Jewish. He's a Jew. So now Zelensky's the enemy. How come they don't talk about Cuba? He's a KGB plant. He spent about a decade with the KGB, being trained and being a commander in Germany with the worst of the worst, the Stasi. They worked with the Stasi to eliminate opposition. So we want to talk a little bit about Putin. I'll be right back. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense. 1% of we people. Of course not. All KGB. And when he came to power, was when Russian President Boris Yeltsin announced his resignation. And he makes Putin the prime minister. He appoints him for as the acting president, who had been prime minister for 4 months, also appointed by Yeltsin at the time. Now, the deal was Yeltsin had some issues involving gambling and money and so forth, and he was going to be charged. And Putin basically said to him, I'll clean the slate, but I got to be the top dog. I need to be president of the Russian Republic. And that was the deal that was made. And there he is, going from the KGB, who was a sort of a mobster mayor for a period of time, acting prime minister, and then president. I'll be right back. More to come.
A new president is sworn in. America's greatness is being restored. And there's breaking news every minute. Now, tens of millions of Americans are turning off Fox and CNN and tuning in to Newsmax for the breaking information they really need to know. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Find it yourself on all major cable systems and on your TV or smartphone store. Just download the Newsmax app for free and start watching. You'll get great shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and Carl Higbee, and more. Find out why millions of Americans have made the switch. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. So make the switch to Newsmax. Check us out on cable and satellite TV, or download the Newsmax app today. Watch us anytime, anywhere. Remember, Newsmax is real news for real people.
Woodbridge, Washington, a cumulus media station, making sense of the news. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. The Federal Reserve said it didn't lower interest rates last month due to concerns that President Trump's proposed tariffs, mass deportations, and strong consumer spending could push inflation higher this year. That, according to meeting minutes released today, the Fed's 19 officials who participate in its interest rate decision said, quote, that they would wait to see further progress on inflation before making any further cuts. Consumer prices rose more than expected last month. Mr. Trump, who campaigned on ending inflation, admitted during last night's interview with Fox's Sean Hannity.
Inflation is back. I'm only here for 2.5 weeks.
He blamed President Biden. Up next, traffic and weather.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, millions of kids don't have the supplies they need. Solar Students is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at donorshoes.org.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child. This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook, because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
Wealth building expert Candy Valentino paves the path to success.
I was a founder before I could legally order a drink. Now my goal is to help you. And I interview guest experts. David Anderson, I love what you said. I always say you never learn in an echo chamber.
How we connect those dots to help us achieve the things we want to.
Tony Robbins, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, everybody loses money investing. Make sure you win in the long term. How did you get rich?
I had to sum it up. A lot of hard work.
The Candy Valentino Show. Listen on your favorite platform.
Your phone's a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Your favorite show, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archive, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Memory McIntyre.
In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
We're the stronger than we look type. I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2. The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
Making sense of your world.
Making sense of the news. Making sense of the biggest the double standard people go. Download it and America. I'm still anytime. The one that go. Hey,
The last credible poll in Ukraine shows Zelensky's popularity at 57%. I'm going to play an audio from Jack Keane in a moment, who was on Fox today with Martha McCollum as well. But I do think the extent to which Putin has conducted himself needs to be exposed and needs to be explained in a little bit more detail, in a lot more detail. You know, they changed the Constitution, amazingly, such as it is, in Russia, so he could run for more than 2 terms. He's now led that country for a quarter of a century without a real or a fair election. Well, they've had elections. Dictators know how to have elections. And he always gets well over 80%, over 90% usually. Pretty good. But I want you to listen to this. Jack Keane got a special medal from President Trump, as I recall, and deserves it. He's a great man, a retired 4-star general. He's very sober about these things. Medal of Freedom. And this is what he said on Martha McCollum's show on Fox this afternoon. Go.
He says that Zelensky has a 4% approval rating. The numbers that we have seen are more in the 50% range, north of 50% range. And he's criticizing Zelensky for not holding elections. Now, clearly, this is something that Russia would like to see happen, because they would love to get a Yanukovych or somebody who, is much more favorable to Russia into that seat. Is the president undermining the election process? And can an election take place in the middle of this war at all, General?
Well, a couple of things. Yeah, Zelensky's polling as of February this month is 57% favorable. It was 52 in December. I mean, it was in the 90s and 22 when the war started. But obviously, he got very favorable ratings. Look at the Constitution that Ukraine has prohibits elections when you declare martial law because of a state of war takes place. And obviously, the incumbent who is trying to run a war to be involved in an election and bringing people together in primaries and other elections puts the people at risk. There's 2 other parts of that martial law. If you're 18 to 60 years of age and a male, you can't leave the country. And also they're curbing civil liberties, particularly freedom of movement, by curfews in the contested areas. So that the fact that their constitution is driving this, the parliament, bipartisan support for all the extensions they've had to the martial law. So they are acting democratically, in my judgment, in abiding by their constitution. And also the parliament is supporting it, which represents the people throughout the country. These are democratic actions taking place in a democratic country. I don't believe we should try and push elections on Zelensky during the middle of this war. I think if there is a peace agreement, I think Zelensky and others and the people themselves will demand an election, and it would likely take place assuming the peace agreement has some real legs to it.
There you have it. Well, look, I don't have a problem if it's the position of our administration to cut back on support for Ukraine, which I oppose, by the way, then so be it. Elections have consequences. So be it. But I want to make sure the facts are on the table and you, the American people, draw your own conclusion. MAGA doesn't support Putin either. MAGA doesn't support Iran getting nuclear weapons either. People claim to be speaking for you, who are not speaking for you, who are in media, who are in other positions and so forth. And if you know the full extent of their views, and if you know the actual situation with regard to Zelensky ordered martial law. That's what the Constitution there compelled. Zelensky hasn't called for an election. That's what the Constitution there compels. Now I'm waiting for the first free election for Vladimir Putin. I mean, this is almost comical in a sick way that Putin is demanding an election. Why isn't he demanding an election in Ukraine when he doesn't have free and real elections in his own country? And why does he get to call the shots when in fact he murders people who dare to challenge him? All the famous suicide jumpers. But worse than that, he throws them in prison, gives them 19-year sentences, they get sick. He sends hitmen, assassins into London, into Germany to kill anybody who opposes him. There's not a single independent media outlet left in the whole of Russia. He shuts them down. He kills journalists too. This is what we're dealing with. Again, old KGB, and not just KGB. He was in, like Flynn, with the Stasi in East Germany. So I don't know why there are people that not only oppose Zelensky, but seem to support Putin. It's bizarre. But that's not me. That's not you. That's not the men and women who have fought our wars, who fought in World War II or Vietnam or Korea, who fought in Iraq and fought in Afghanistan. This isn't them. These are a handful of pseudo-intellectuals funded by the likes of George Soros and Charles Koch. They're not alone. Others too. Adopting policies that in many ways are un-American in my view. Policies that if they had espoused these policies not that long ago, people would have wondered if they're on the take or who they're working for, something like that. Not that they are, but they would wonder. And so Zelensky's latest poll, he's at 57%. The parliament, with all parties in the parliament, support what he's doing. They're trying to survive. Ukraine did not invade Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine and took Crimea and is now completely incorporated it into Russia. Before that, Russia invaded the country of Georgia, which had been a captive state, and basically took half of Georgia. And before Putin invaded Ukraine, he wrote about it, or somebody wrote for him, and he made this pronouncement. We've talked about it here at great length. I've read from it to you, as it was interpreted in English, about how Ukraine was always Russian, which is simply not true. And he went even further, that where there are Russian-speaking peoples, it's Russian. That's what Hitler said. Where there are German-speaking people, it's German. And of course, they go beyond it. But his eyes are set on Moldavia. His eyes are set on Poland. His eyes are set on Romania. How do we know it? Because either he or his surrogates have said so. It's a bad guy. It's a bad guy who helped Assad kill 500,000 Syrians, slaughtered them, gassing them, mowing them down. There was a revolution in Syria, as you well know, pushed Assad out, which meant Russia no longer had a puppet state there. And let's talk about money. If Ukraine doesn't know where half the money went, that is outrageous. I think Zelensky said it. That is unacceptable. And we shouldn't be schmoes about this. We shouldn't just write checks left and right like Biden did. That's stupid. That's stupid. I don't know if it's cost us $350 billion. If it's cost us $1 billion and you don't know where half of it went, that's bad enough. We spend money here, trillions, we don't even know where it is. 4.7 trillion we can't track. And we're not even in the middle of a civil war. But that's unacceptable too. No excuses. But I want to add another fact. After World War II, and even up to today, your grandparents, your parents, and you have spent trillions of dollars to build a military to protect us from, among others, but specifically the old Soviet Union and Russia. We have spent trillions of dollars on hardware, on technological development, on submarines, on bombers, on jets. Trillions of dollars to protect us from all foes, all enemies. But for the vast period of time since the end of World War II, it was the Russians. The Russians. Ukraine doesn't have any nukes. In 1994, we, the British, and the Russians signed a deal that all those nukes would be given voluntarily by Ukraine, then a separate country, to Russia in exchange for an agreement that if Russia's invaded, that if Ukraine's invaded, Russia, Britain, and the United States will assist them. Obviously, that didn't mean crap. And they lost their leverage when they gave up all their nuclear weapons, but they were pressured to do it. They were pressured to do it. Russia has an enormous number of sophisticated nuclear missiles. They do this to try and even the score because of the weakness of their conventional weaponry. Most of those missiles are aimed at us. They could blow the United States off the face of the earth 500 times. How many times have I come on the air to give you stories having nothing to do with Ukraine or the war between Russia and Ukraine about Russian jets and bombers threatening our jets and bombers off the coast of Alaska? Ask the senators and the governor in Alaska what they think about this. It's constant. You have close surrogates of Putin saying Alaska, that was a fraudulent sale, that Alaska still belongs to them. And this is becoming increasingly prevalent in their propaganda. Donald Trump saying we need to take Greenland. Why? Because of what the Russians and the Communist Chinese are doing with Antarctica. Russia has nuclear submarines too that shoots nuclear missiles. And they sit off our shores outside our navigable waters and international waters. That's where they sit. Because our subs and their subs, nuclear subs, they will survive a nuclear war. Nothing else will, but they will. The Cuban Missile Crisis. We can go on and on about what took place. And Putin has said multiple times, he's even written, that the greatest catastrophe, if not in Modern world history and world history was the collapse of the Soviet Union. Greatest catastrophe. Now, from his viewpoint, that certainly is true. But his viewpoint's not our viewpoint. It's one of the greatest things that could have happened. Now, Ukraine hasn't asked for any of our troops. Ukraine doesn't have the industrial might that a Russia has, or China. Relatively small population of around 40 million people. Mostly agricultural country. Mostly an agricultural country. They didn't start this war. What were they supposed to do? Roll over and play dead? 81% of the American people do not trust Putin because 81% of the American people are smart. Because the men and the women in this country who've been in the military, who've fought wars, they understand. Their families understand. I understand. There needs to be peace between these two countries, and I think Donald Trump is uniquely able to do that, to pull it off. I really do. But there cannot be peace at any cost. Reagan used to talk about this. Churchill used to talk about it. FDR used to talk about it. Patton used to talk about it. There is no peace with slavery. Ukraine is making preposterous demands that cannot be met. That's another problem. That's another problem. But the idea that Ukraine must hold elections in violation of its own constitution is a condition for peace, or that Ukraine must give up more territory as a condition for peace. You have to understand the Ukrainian people don't want to do that. That's why Zelensky's at 57%. Higher than most politicians in our own country. I mean, we got one senator who said we ought to pull out of NATO. These are knuckleheads. Pull out of NATO. Pull out of NATO? As I said the other night, do they know why there's NATO? NATO's there to protect you and me. And a lot of our forefathers fought, bled, died in Europe. And we're supposed to surrender it to Russia and China? And all the rest of these countries, they would roll through and take it in 2 seconds. So understand, when you hear people talk like this or post like that, what you're dealing with. On the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie. Professional cab driver. Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Former U.S. Navy SEAL Sean Ryan captures real stories about sacrifice and strength.
My biggest fear wasn't death. My biggest fear was nobody will remember me.
That motivates a lot of people.
Just made me feel invincible. Open the steel door.
They were all convinced, I think, that they were about to die. This rush of stress comes over me because now it's
All of a sudden, they're saying, what is really important?
let us reveal the truth of ourselves.
That's it.
The Sean Ryan Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
A few years ago, I wrote a book about how to keep sharp and build a better brain at any age. But keeping your brain sharp as you get older has a lot to do with your heart. And the younger you start taking better care of that, the better. What is good for the heart is often good for the brain. Now, dementia is commonly seen as an incurable, relentless disease that cannot be prevented. But the evidence does show that adopting a healthy lifestyle and identifying and treating vascular risk factors early in life may help preserve normal brain function and reduce the burden of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. So you want to be heart and therefore brain healthy? Follow a Mediterranean style of eating. Research this. Start doing it. Get plenty of exercise throughout the day, not just all at once, and plenty of sleep. And as best you can, do try and reduce your stress. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
As of last year, Russia has 5,580 nuclear warheads, by far the largest in the world, and they've deployed 1,710 nuclear missiles, most of which are aimed at us and our interests. Ukraine doesn't have a single warhead, and so they have nothing aimed at anybody. We have spent trillions and trillions of dollars since the end of World War II to defend our country militarily. We spend, give or take, about $700 billion a year, going on $800 billion a year for our military now, among others, to defend ourselves from Russia, China, but Russia, not the Ukraine. So we're spending an enormous amount of money. When we talk about money, we should not only talk about the amount of money we give Ukraine to defend itself, but the amount of money we spend to defend ourselves because of Putin and Russia. Why is that never discussed? Why? Quite serious. Doing my best, Mr. Producer. Here we go. The April 15th tax deadline is, well, it's near. Do you have unfiled tax returns? Can't pay the IRS? The IRS is more aggressive than ever before. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. Wage garnishments, bank levies, even property seizures are on the table, and they grab it, and then you got to go fight and get it back. So you need to get ahead of this, but going up against the IRS alone is a mistake. Take my advice. Call the best, the experts at Tax Network USA. They know the system. They have an edge, a preferred direct line to the IRS. They know which agents to deal with and which to avoid. So whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their genius strategies are designed to quickly settle your tax problems in your favor. Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Tax Network USA can help you too, but you need to move fast. April 15th is upon us. Talk with one of their strategists today. No obligation, complete confidentiality. Stop looking over your shoulder, folks. Put this behind you. Call Tax Network USA, 1-800-958-1000. 1-800-958-1000. They're there right now. 1-800-958-1000 or go to tnusa.com/Levin, tnusa.com/LEVIN. Tons more to get to, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Making sense of your world. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Greatly appreciate it. Making sense of the news.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when communities in schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, will you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headline, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know. All without having to remember yet another password. Read your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archive, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected. Making sense of your money.
The state of the economy, the ability to afford your life. That's what people want.
Vince Colonnade, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
The kind of thing I pay attention to. I'm looking at.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. WMAL, community media station. Making sense of the news. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. Doge's cuts to NIH draw scientists and politicians to rally outside HHS headquarters in the district today as thousands of the agency's employees are being axed. Ian Fucci is a cancer researcher at NIH. He says scientists were fired on Saturday night. An HHS spokesperson says the cuts are to ensure the agency better serves Americans at the highest and most efficient standard. But Fucci says,
consider the medications you rely on for diabetes, heart disease, or cancer. These are developed in large part due to NIH and NIH-funded researchers. Is destroying years of progress into research really serving the American people?
The Trump administration tells Fox News there have been 6,000 departures from HHS since Inauguration Day. And Fairfax County is launching a new website to help newly laid off federal workers find new jobs.
Some 90,000 job openings are available across Northern Virginia, according to Victor Hoskins, head of the Fairfax County Economic Authority, especially former feds with security clearance.
As a matter of fact, it's probably of the highest value in this market, even on the private sector side.
Hoskins telling 7 News the website workinnorthernvirginia.com also offers mental and financial resources, plus resume updates.
Someone says, in my job, I help track, tanks and munitions, as opposed to I work in logistics.
Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
The people who stand to get rich by selling their homes from the Prince William Digital Gateway project might go broke first.
Since the land for those homes is now zoned for data center use, Prince William County has billed those properties at data center rates. One homeowner saw his bill go from $2,600 for 6 months to $728,000 a year. A bill in Richmond aimed at giving those homeowners a massive tax break has died in committee. 2 groups of homeowners are now challenging the rezonings in court. The data center developers say they won't buy those properties until the legal challenges for the project are over. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
After a few days to think about residents' comments at the RFK Stadium site community meeting, Mayor Muriel Bowser has some takeaways.
Similar to a meeting that I had a couple of years ago where the community talked
about the mix of uses that they want to see at RFK.
The mayor at today's grand opening for the city's new Go-Go Museum will listen to neighborhood feedback for the site, but also wanted to highlight affordable housing, a world-class NFL stadium, and a sports complex. Those against that idea fear traffic and negative environmental impacts. As far as the timeline for what comes next,
I can't say for sure when we will be able to deliver it, but we've been trying to get control of RFK for 10 years. So we don't want to dawdle, but we want to be comprehensive in our thinking.
Scott Lynn on WMAL and WMAL.com.
A high-profile person's adding his voice to the chorus of people who want the Commanders to change their name back to the Redskins. That person, HUD Secretary Scott Turner, who played cornerback for the team from 1995 to 1997.
A lot of people, millions of people want the Redskins to get their name back. There was a lot of pride in playing for the Washington Redskins.
He tells WMAL's Vince Colonnese in an interview with the White House today.
I would encourage them to get the name back.
Team owner Josh Harris said earlier this month they're keeping the name the Commanders because it's come to mean something after rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels led the team to the NFC Championship game. Traffic and weather next.
This podcast is sponsored by Laurel Road. At Bigger Pockets, we're always trying to find ways to help you maximize your buying power. So check out Laurel Road. Laurel Road's banking and lending solutions include student loan refinancing, mortgages, personal loans, student loan cashback credit cards, tailored savings accounts, and more. And right now, for a limited time, Laurel Road's high-yield savings account has an annual percentage yield that's up to 10 times the national saving rates. That's way more than the savings rate you could get from some of those giant banks. The fully digital account they offer features 0 monthly service fees, it has no minimum balance requirement, and it costs $0 to open. So visit laurelroad.com/pockets to learn more. Laurel Road, your partner on the road to financial peace of mind. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Still some slowing traffic on the inner loop between the Georgetown Pike and the Spur from 355 to New Hampshire Avenue. Otherwise, delays have eased out. The accident on 270 northbound before Montrose Road now moved to the shoulder, but still slow going from Old Georgetown Road and more delays from Quince Orchard Road to Middlebrook Road. Earlier accident on George Avenue northbound at the Intercounty Connector cleared. You will still find crash activity only on 108 east and westbound at Prince Philip Drive. And in the district, Reno Road is still closed between Tilden Street and Van Ness Street northwest due to the fallen tree in the roadway. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Flurries and light snow into the evening. We'll see minor accumulations, especially south of D.C., where winter weather advisory has been posted. Tomorrow, light snow, perhaps a coating inside around the Beltway, 27 to 32. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin, the First Alert Weather Center.
23 degrees in Sterling, 24 in Laurel, and 24 degrees under partly cloudy skies here in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis, Sun News Talk, 105.9 WMAL.
105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
Sunk it somewhere under the freaking steel of a nondescript building. We've once again made contact with it. Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. In Borough Park in New York, probably have the highest concentration of Orthodox Jews in the country. And so the so-called Free Palestine movement, aka the pro-Hamas movement, shows up there. It's like the Nazis in Illinois in the 70s, marching through a mostly Jewish neighborhood. And Richie Torres is a liberal Democrat member of the House of Representatives. He represents, among other areas, mostly the Bronx. His district butts right up against AOC's district. He's a very small number of Jews in his district, some but not a ton. Mostly black and Hispanic. And he watches this or has seen video of this, and there's some video out. It's gotten almost no media coverage because this is becoming all too commonplace. And Richie Torres, who I understand wants to be, at least I hear, the Democrat nominee for governor, as against her. It should come as a shock to no one, he posts, that the pro-Hamas mob targeting Jews and promising to flood Borough Park has descended into violence. They immediately started attacking the Orthodox Jews, who are obvious through the garb that they wear, the beards that they have. They just go in there and they just start attacking these Jews. Violence is not a bug, but a feature of the so-called Free Palestine movement, which has no desire to free Palestinians, that is, from Hamas. From Hamas. Gets almost no attention. Almost none. Why is that? Is it becoming commonplace? I'm just asking you, is it becoming commonplace? What's the issue here? No issue? It's pretty outrageous, I would say. We talk about free speech in Europe. And right, J.D. Vance gave a fantastic speech. And he had the guts to give it where it needed to be given, in Munich, in front of all these world leaders. Europe is descending into autocracy. It's already there. It's just descending into a more aggressive autocracy. And J.D.'s speech was outstanding. But where are the speeches about this? From Democrat politicians who run New York, who run New York City. Where's Hakeem Jeffries, the would-be Speaker of the House? This isn't too far from him. Where is he? What do you do, put out a quick statement or something, or nothing? Where are these people? Well, they're relatively silent. You know, Eric Adams has spoken out before, but he appears to be too busy to speak out right now. You have these little crystal knocks going on that I talk about. And almost nothing's done about it. Now, the NYPD, I feel bad for those guys and gals.
What I predicted is happening.
They did it last night and so forth and so on.
I've been calling Queen T out forever.
Cut out
since you look at her go.
Other college campuses. I think we ought to tell the rest of the world about free speech. You know, you just can't have it both ways.
Darren Whitney didn't like Queen T, just so you know.
This is any of our business. What are we doing? And then JD gives a
Darren Whitney said some of the fucking funniest things about that woman.
I agree 100% with his speech. But I would ask the ideologues of the George Soros, Charles Koch types, what exactly is your ideology? Should we be involved in Europe in telling people what we recommend they do, or should we not? Or should we not? What's our position exactly? It's not coherent. Not in my view. Not coherent at all. And yet this is taking place, and it's almost rudimentary. Oh, it's too boring to talk about on talk radio. Oh, it's too boring to talk about on podcasts. Oh, it's just too boring to cover. It's still yesterday and tomorrow. Pretty shocking, don't you think? People wouldn't be saying that if it were other communities. Gay, black, women. And we should, if there's violence, speak out against it. But we hear very little about it. We have ABC News, our brothers at the Blaze, point out, faces fury for labeling slain Hamas hostages as merely deceased. Writes Candace Hathaway at the Blaze. ABC News faces fury for labeling slain Hamas hostages as merely deceased. Hamas says the two youngest hostages are dead. The two babies were murdered, as well as their mother. And it's sickening beyond belief. ABC News faced a fierce wave of backlash for its reporting on Hamas's announced plan to release the additional hostages in 2 phases later this week. The dead and the alive. Can you imagine? The terrorist group claimed it will release the bodies of 4 hostages on Thursday and 6 living hostages on Saturday. According to Hamas, the 2 youngest people kidnapped by the group, Kiefer and Ariel Bibas, are no longer alive. Little babies. Their bodies are among the 4 to be returned this week. Kiefer was just 9 months old. Remember that? Remember they took that baby? Remember how many times we talked about this? I said, what are they going to do? They're going to give the baby milk? They're going to give it diapers? What are they going to do? They killed it. They killed him.
Hi, Rocky.
Just 9 months old. Ariel was 4 years old when they were abducted along with their parents.
There's a bunch of people tripping.
Yard in Bibas.
I'm not one of them.
Shiri reportedly is also dead, so they killed the mother and the 2 babies. The father was released last month. I'm sure he'd been separated from his family. ABC News published an article on the update, writing in a post on X, quote, Hamas will release the bodies of 4 deceased hostages on Thursday.
You like my new handle, Rocky?
Hamas and Israel confirmed 4 more dead hostages will be released next week, according to Israel. Can you imagine what kind of sick bastards these are? Fucker. They kill these people, they keep their bodies, and you know.
That's Randy. Uh-oh. There's a fucking glitch or something. I don't know what the fuck happens.
You can only imagine what's left.
It's like it's on their end. I don't know what the fuck.
Social media users lambasted ABC News. The comments were soft.
Yeah, ABC News.
By outright
They're a bunch of winners.
He mentioned that the group is suspected of murdering the so-called deceased hostages. Deceased, yes. Why are they deceased? Exactly, one user wrote. Any chance you left out the detail? They were murdered.
Does that show on my
Seems
thing?
At least a little relevant. Another. The people who are paid to use precise words to record every event are suddenly at a loss to find the right word to describe Hamas murdering hostages. Deceased was a deliberate and very poor choice for ABC News. Senator Mike Lee blasted the news outlet for referring to the young children as deceased and dead. Do you mean murdered? He asked. Civilian hostages, little children murdered by the evil, brutal scum of Hamas. I salute you for that, Mike. For saying what needs to be said. And the Israeli Prime Minister's office appeared to confirm that the civilian hostages were murdered, referring to them as 4 slain hostages. They noted 4 additional slain hostages are expected to be handed over to Israel next week. And then there's testimony the other day by one hostage that there was brutal torture. He has scars all over his body. They were forced to drink dirty water. They barely had any food. Regularly beaten. Terrible. Hey, a 2-state solution. I've got a 2-state solution for Hamas, the state of death, and for the rest of us, the state of life. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving.
Hey, Rocky, did you have a 3rd coffee yet? If you did, I missed it. I don't know if I think I got you here, so.
Well, massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. But sometimes the greatest rush.
Vegas has been on fire for a couple hours. Tammy's trying to burn the place down. She has me blocked. My hand. I mean, I was in there with one hand, though. She doesn't have blocked. She doesn't know it's me.
Latest iteration, Tonal 2, you can ensure your workout is more tailored and effective than ever. Tonal's at-home strength training system.
I drink coffee all hours of the day. I'm always drinking coffee. It doesn't bother me at all. Rocky, my sleep patterns are just I almost still have Navy sleep patterns. It fucking awake 16 hours a day, 17, 18 hours a day.
See yourself during your workout, analyzes your movement, and provides real-time coaching, just like a personal trainer. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code Tonal200. That's Tonal.com and use promo code Tonal200 for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.
I'm just sitting here waiting. It's going to carry over again. I had 30 people in my chat yesterday. Or 30, whatever was going on. It was fucking funny as hell. Then there's Will Durant.
Never ever had that problem. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due identity went up 20% this year. Get LifeLock today. Don't get your identity stolen. They monitor millions of data points per second and alert you to threats you can miss. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, backed by the $1 million protection package. Restoration is guaranteed, or you might don't mess around.
Elon Musk is driving them crazy. Hey, go figure. A fucking guy is a billionaire 10 times over, whatever, I've never even seen an electric car. Where I live, you don't see them. I mean, you see some of them, but they're not like what you're going to find in California where the weather is nice all the time. Fucking electric car up here wouldn't do you any good this time of year. It's been below zero. That fucking battery is frozen. It ain't going to work. I can hear it right now. Yeah. Then nothing. No juice whatsoever. That's how strong the winds were up here. Yeah, my county, the sheriffs put out a travel ban because of the high winds and the snow, blowing snow. We got a lot of snow.
Whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to.
But yeah, we got almost 3 feet of snow in a couple of days. It's a lot. Blowing and everywhere, and it's cold. Yeah, I'll show you.
American flag that's made in America, not somewhere overseas like China. Folks, if there's one thing you own that should be made in America, it's your American flag that you hang with pride outside your home. In fact, it should be a flag from Allegiance Flag Supply, hand sewn in Charleston, South Carolina.
That's Fahrenheit, by the way.
American craftsmen and women who put care into every stitch because they believe what that flag stands for. I fly American flags all the time, but there's nothing like my Allegiance flag. It's a real showstopper, the highest quality American.
Hey, Rocky, what do you think about this Alvaro guy? Look at this fucker. Look at this Alvaro guy. The fuck you trying to do, Alvaro?
WMAL, making sense of the news.
Dun, 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 dun. Mark Levin has good taste in music. Of course, he's on the radio.
This too, I've made reference to it. It's reported by The Hill. They didn't do the survey.
Yeah, it is. It's all of our streams. Rocky, all the way back, all those. Where the fuck is Super Squid at? And Money Mike and all them other guys? Huh? Where are those guys at? Where's Tom Darko at?
Released today, found 81% of respondents said Putin should not be trusted, including
10-4, Rocky.
93%. It's overwhelming. Just 9% of the voters surveyed said Putin, the former KGB.
Trump brings a lot of drama to these motherfuckers, real life drama. All these federal workers they're all losing their job, getting all cushy jobs with the government.
And they go around making threats.
It's not what the government's for.
Keep doing it.
They fucking, the Social Security Trust Fund is empty. There ain't no money in that fucker.
Just going through this.
All them congressmen owe money to that fucking shit.
U.S. General Army Jack Keane said in a Fox News interview over the weekend.
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, right. I do that. I type in, it'll say Ricky. I get excited. I'm listening to this, right?
Then Trump leaves.
Thinking about NATO.
Everything is on the line for
We are NATO.
the conflict.
There'd be no NATO if it wasn't for the Marshall Plan. Dumb fuckers. We rebuilt Europe, you stupid fox.
All this blows up on him.
Wow.
Mixed views in this poll of how President Trump is handling this. 40% approve, 44%
Yeah,
disagree.
let's see what's in Fort Knox.
Polls taken like that, how President Trump is handling it.
Bugs Bunny got in there, didn't he? Or somebody tried.
In his favor, so that's not really relevant. But the polls now are that people don't like Putin, don't support
That's
Putin.
where the UN come from.
In this country.
The UN and NATO is the same
It
shit.
would be nice if we had a poll on Zelensky too, but I don't. I have that.
The UN building's in New York City. They should have flew the planes into that fucking place. Dumb fucks.
Somebody say, Mr. Producer, for 80 years we've been paying for Europe's defense. NATO.
See?
80 years. People don't understand why there's a NATO. They just don't get it. All they have to do is study it a little bit. NATO's not for France. NATO's not for Belgium. NATO's not for Britain. I mean, it helps protect them for sure. They might say it's for them. It's for us. We have arrangements like this, and not just in Europe. We have them with
I'm going to address this in a
Japan,
minute.
Australia, New Zealand. We have them with the Philippines. We're the ones who pursue these arrangements to counter the arrangements of the evil empires. Oh, yes, there are evil empires. We need allies. How stupid is this? I don't even have to explain this. This is basic stuff. So to answer the person who says, why we've been paying this for 80 years, you need to go back before NATO and look at World War II. Should we not have been involved in World War II, but for the fact that we were attacked at Pearl Harbor? Would it have been okay for Hitler to roll over all of Europe? Tojo to take over all the Pacific? And Italy to take over what's left? Is that okay? Where would we be today? I think these people stop it.
They were over here, the Nazis, before World War II.
Doctrine, both Russia and China are in our hemisphere. That they're both in Central and South America. That China operates both ends of the Panama Canal. President Trump knows that's a problem. President Trump knows it's a problem when they're trying to militarize Antarctica. What the hell are they trying to militarize Antarctica for? It's obvious. Long-range nuclear missile sites. So he's talking about Greenland. So we can at least have navigable waters to deal with their Navy. He's talking about a bigger expansion.
I'm a North Atlantic sailor.
Than any president in my lifetime.
Fuck
he
you.
Wants Greenland to be America. He wants Canada to be America. He wants the Panama Canal to be America. So I would ask the 9% Putin supporters.
There's
out there in
another
that country,
quiz question.
Is that okay with you? Or not?
What country borders more of the Gulf of Mexico? Mexico or the U.S.?
Figure out that's allocated for Russia. Just cut it. Remove it. For the 9% who think Russia's cool and Putin's cool. We can cut our defense budget by $200 billion. We don't need a military to offset Russia. Why don't we cut 3 or 4 nuclear subs? We can get rid of them too. Why don't we remove all of our troops from Europe? We can do that too. Why don't we tell our Air Force no flying near Russia? We don't want to provoke them. After all, they have over 5,000 nuclear warheads. Should we do that too? Why not? Are they a threat or not?
This is cracking me up.
They obviously are. President Trump was president for 4 years. He didn't cut the defense budget and carve out Russia. That would be insane. How much our defense budget is being spent, other than direct monies to Ukraine, which we already talked about, to protect us from Ukraine? Our defense budget is being spent to protect us from Ukraine. None. But hundreds of billions, and over the course of the end of World War II, trillions and trillions have been spent to protect us from the Soviet Union and now Russia. Russia got all of its nuclear missiles back when the Soviet Union collapsed. In other words, Russia kept the military, the Soviet military. It has the Soviet military. It is the Soviet military. We're talking about retrenching. They're expanding into Central and South America. They're expanding. By the way, we have diplomatic and military pacts with countries in our own hemisphere. We have diplomatic and military pacts with countries in the Middle East. We have them with countries in the Far East. As I mentioned. We have them in Europe. But all of a sudden, NATO should go away. Well, should all the other arrangements go away too? I mean, after all, why are we out there? Why are we doing these things? Why are we helping Australia and Japan and South Korea? Huh? Why? Why are we helping Israel? Why are we helping the Gulf Arab states? What are we doing? Why are we involved in any of this? Let's just pull it all in. Stupid. Stupid and stupid again. I'll be right back.
Coffee table, that means we're sitting in your living room. Do you have a hookah? Rocky Goldman, do you have a hookah? How long are the tubes on that hookah? You got a hookah sitting in the middle of your coffee table so we can all puff on that fucker? He knows what I'm talking about. Hey, there's people I know down south, they got hookahs. Special occasions. They're pretty private down there. So once they invite you in, boy, it's a good time. Did I see Charlie's name? Charlie said he'll never come to my chat. He doesn't like listening to Mark Levin. He's Jewish. Hey, Rocky, isn't Goldman a Jewish name? Isn't that? It's kind of like you could be considered Polish. You could be considered a Mormon. Lots of things Rocky could be.
Virginia side of the Beltway, no delays there. On 66 westbound of Vienna, you find a disabled vehicle with the left lane blocked at Nutley Street. Traffic is jammed from the Beltway.
Oh, okay. Patrick Rowe, I see Charlie. He posted Charlie's name. Patrick, Charlie says he's not coming here because of Mark Levin. He can't take his voice. You have to listen hard. Oh, you have to be a good listener. Charlie's not a good listener. Lots of people in here they don't like to listen. They don't want to listen. Patrick, why you got to be an ignorant suck fuck? Patrick, you're one miserable motherfucker. You can barely get out of that chair to go take a piss. I thought about, I'm going to make a new handle on you. All right. I just didn't do it. I got hungry and once in a while, I buy the Le Choy chow mein, chicken chow mein, the vegetables, and that's a good product. It's easy to warm up. I get 2 servings out of it. Perfect. Patrick, what do you want me to do for you, boy? You obviously are screaming for help. This is an outreach, Patrick. I'm not an ordained minister or anything like that, but I can wear any hat I want, Patrick. Patrick, let's try to keep it clean tonight, because I do have some of my neighbors, their kids watch this, and some of the shit I say retaliate back to these people. I want to really think that they know I'm not a pervert. Come up and call me a pedophile, Wiggin. I dare you. Will Durant, I got news for you, boy. I'm a lot older than you are. I'm old enough to be your father. So you really need to watch your P's and Q's with me. All right? You're not dealing with Charles Wiggin here. I don't act like that. Netanyahu doesn't even know who I am, other than he's for. You do realize that Netanyahu was educated in America, right? You do realize Netanyahu has dual citizenship, correct? He's both an Israeli citizen and he's an American citizen. I believe that's true. Now, you call him Jewish. I'm not Jewish, right? But the fact of the matter is Patrick Rowe, you fucking lazy bastard, America is a Judeo-Christian country. I mean, it's not strictly based on the Bible or the King James Version. Fuck the English, right? Because they quote Plato, all those, Cicero, right? All those people from back in them times, the Greeks, Patrick, I heard Will Durant talk about reading books. Now, it matters what books you read. Patrick, I would suggest that you read a dictionary.
Back every month instead of moving forward. But the bills are higher than what you bring in every month. You have to swipe that credit card to cover the difference, and probably more than one credit card, and that debt just keeps adding up. You're in what I call a debt spiral. But if you own a home, my friends at American Financing, they're the best. They can help you break free from that cycle now more than ever. This is a lifeline. Trust me. It's all your money. You get to decide where to put it.
Thanks for coming, Charlie. I appreciate it. I've been waiting for this moment.
That's $10,000 a year. That's a lot of money. And remember,
turn that down. I'm fucking talking over this radio program. I got so loud. And thanks for coming, Charlie. I appreciate it. You just helped me do something. You're gonna like this.
It's nothing to find out how much you can save. Nothing. All it takes is a quick call, wholly confidential, to American Financing. If you start today, you might be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today. But the best of the best, I've used them. My daughters use them. Mr. Producers use them. Start your journey towards being credit card debt free. In other words, it's all your money. More of it, rather than giving it to a big bank. It's that.
Yeah.
They're there. 888-900-1828. Hello. 888-900-1828. Hello again. 888-900-1828. Or go to AmericanFinancing.net.
NMLS 182334. NMLS Consumer Access.
Here's a reminder, ladies and gentlemen. We use every platform that's available out there to communicate our message, to speak to you and to hear from you. Every one that's available. Older platforms, the newest of new platforms. whether it's terrestrial radio, whether it's satellite, whether it's YouTube, whether it's direct streaming, whether it's our app.
Touchy.
We're on all of it. Now, some hosts don't do that. Some companies don't do it. They just want to focus on one platform for a variety of reasons. Not us. Not us. You're the Paul and Paulette Reveres. You're the Thomas Paines. And it's important that we hear from you and you hear from us. So we cannot allow a bureaucracy of some sort or another, or an individual of one sort or another to come between us, and I won't permit it. So mark this down if you don't already know. Our mothership is the Mark Levin Show website. It's marklevinshow.com. marklevinshow.com. You want to hear this program via podcast? Well, click on Audio Rewind at the top of that page and pick your favorite podcast platform. Now, if you already have a favorite podcast platform, and many of you do, just search Mark Levin Show, and there it is. It's all free. All free. What if you prefer YouTube? Very easy. You can now find all my full podcast radio programs, interviews, specials on YouTube. You go to youtube.com at Mark Levin Show, or just search Mark Levin Show on YouTube. So if you're not happy with the time the show runs, or you're not getting all 3 hours, or for some reason we're not on a particular radio station, you can always find us. Just go to marklevinshow.com and they'll show you the way.
I got your avatar, Charlie. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
To run our program. We appreciate the ownership.
There you go.
Everybody else who's involved. Most of all, we appreciate you and the audience.
I mean, you were never behind barbed wire, but, you know.
I'm quite serious.
I don't know, maybe you were.
That's why I get into these issues.
Did you get arrested on that restraining order or what?
President, almost every time I speak to thank you, Mark.
I can tell you a story, Charlie.
It's not me, Mr. President. It's first of all, it's you. It's Donald Trump. We have somebody to rally around who's an extraordinary individual. Number one. Number two, it's you in the audience. You're extraordinary individuals. You come to this show not because you want to be lectured, not because you want to hear repetition, not because you want to hear propaganda or wacky ideologies and conspiracy theories.
I outrank you, Sergeant Charlie.
Well. It's just not this one. We don't do that.
I outrank you.
Sense, reason, rationality, logic, history.
Not by much, but I outrank you.
Real world experience. That's what we do behind this microphone. And obviously that's what you want. I'm deeply grateful that you do. You made a difference in this last election. You will make a difference going forward when it comes to the budget and every other respect. You, millions and millions of you listening on God knows how many platforms. I just mentioned some of them all over the country. All over the country. I know President Trump knows that. I'm very grateful to you as I'm on. Governor J.B. Pritzker. Now, this guy looks like he's... Does he?
Excuse me.
This guy is as wide as he is tall. He's got the biggest head I've ever seen. It's even bigger than the Bill Clinton. It's a massive... It looks like cinder block or something's going on there. But he's a billionaire, so he buys his way into the governorship. But he's still a crackpot. A wacko. He's a quack. And so here he is on State of the State, on his State of the State speech today, where he's gone further than most governors in destroying the great state of Illinois. Cut one, go.
Root that tears apart your house's foundation begins as a seed of distrust and hate and blame.
You know how to tune this in, Rocky, if you want to. Yeah, it's the WMAL app.
It started with everyday Germans mad about inflation and looking for someone.
Chris Plant comes on this same station.
I'm watching with a full
so doesn't Dan Bongino.
Happening in our country right now. President who watches a plane go down in the Potomac and suggests he thinks
and a diversity there.
And it's amazing coming out of this bloated buffoon what the Democrat Party has created. The Democrat Party says their propaganda, their demagoguery. The fact that they have a Marxist Islamist wing that is growing within the Democrat Party in Congress. In Congress. The fact that the vast majority of college faculty, most of whom do not share our American principles, some do obviously, but they're the exception to the rule. The vast majority of whom are Democrats. The fact that they align themselves with groups like CARE, a Hamas front group. The fact that the growing anti-Semitism is within the Democrat Party, anti-Americanism is within the Democrat Party. And this oversized jello gets in front of a microphone and refers to Germany and inflation. Germany and inflation. It wasn't just inflation, their economy was dead. It was dead for many reasons, but one of the big reasons was that after World War II, the victorious nations went into Germany and stole everything they could get their hands on. And they did that by claiming that this was retribution, that these were reparations. Reparations. That Germany owed the world reparations. And so they stole the stuff. They couldn't build back their industrial heartland. They had inflation. They had wheelbarrows of paper money. We confront some of that in our own country. But we need to be very careful. After a war, but demands are made of countries that have been defeated. We learned about the end of World War I, at the end of World War II, and so I want to answer this host that was on TV, why I've been doing this for 80 years, with the Marshall Plan. These nations that we rightly defeated and destroyed, some of them utterly eviscerated, we helped build them back in our image, help them create free governments in our image.
I already got her in enough trouble as it is.
And the trading partners, imperfect as it is.
Hey, Rain said the same thing.
And trading partners. Our military
Rain liked me at first. Yeah, we were good friends at first.
The world.
Oh, what happened?
To oversee this process, to make sure it was done right, to make sure it was enshrined within
I pulled Bill Cosby.
But the Soviet Union wouldn't have any of it. The Soviet Union was poised, should we leave, to conquer these nations.
Charlie, why are you going to comment on everything?
Some of them were utterly demoralized.
Seriously. I will murder you.
To protect our allies.
I'll murder you.
And to prevent a World War III time for the Soviet Union. That's how NATO came to be. It wasn't, oh, look at all the money we're pouring into NATO and so forth and so. We are pouring a lot of money into NATO.
I just talked over him, so you missed what he said. But
President's 100% right.
It looks like NATO is the subject tonight.
And these bases, including a huge base in Germany, have been used to defend our troops.
About it, Whipperman, you dumb fucking, wow, what a dumb kraut that guy is. You know, for a German, you're a dumb motherfucker.
Because, yes, we are separated by an ocean. Actually, two of them, depending on what coast you're on. We're not into the middle of the mix, whether it's the Pacific, the Far East, whether it's Europe.
Yeah, if you're on the Pacific coast, yeah, there's the Pacific Ocean and then there's the Indian Ocean.
So those are forward bases for us.
Diego Garcia, out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
A black hole, which we've been paying for 80 years.
Wolfie knows.
About itself.
She's busy with her friends.
Europe was obliterated.
I'm too old.
And they could be obliterated again in a World War III.
So they want to have some fun.
World War III were to break out. between the Europeans and the Russians, or the Europeans, the Russians, and the Communist Chinese, what would we do? What would we do? Stay out of it? And if we stayed out of it, what would happen then? What would happen after Europe's defeated? What would happen then? Destroy our economy, number one. Who would we trade with? Ourselves? Where would we get some of the materials we don't actually have in our country? Where would they get them from? What about our exports?
But how would other countries get stuff
We
they
wouldn't
need
be
that we
superpower
make?
anymore, I guarantee it. All we could rely on is nuclear weapons, and that's that. And so China then, and Russia, having defeated Europe, which they would, where do you think they're going to turn their eyes? China's already turned its eyes on the United States. China's building up this military, not to defeat France or Britain, to defeat us. And not necessarily militarily, just to have the firepower to overwhelm us with threats and blackmail so they can encircle our country, which is what they're doing now. Donald Trump sees it. He sees the Panama Canal, and he talks about it. He sees Greenland. He sees what they're doing. You know, we have an ocean on both coasts, right? That's a blessing and a curse, as I said the other day. Nuclear submarines need an ocean. Well, they have two. And they're the most deadly weapon on the face of the earth, bar none.
He's just a potato peeler.
We have oceans. And we also have military
I'm going to do
security
that in
in
a
many
minute.
respects because we have oceans. It just depends.
I'm going to do that.
1800s or 1700s or even the 1800s, we got an ocean. It doesn't work that way, does it?
Yeah, that's our first line of defense.
But try to learn from what Reagan did
Are
to
those
the
boomer
Soviet
boats?
Union economically. In China,
Yes, and a
to
Trident
do
is
the
a
same
boomer
to
boat
us.
because they go boom boom.
they want to
24,
encircle us
capable of
geographically.
carrying
They want to ensure
24.
that they have ports where they need ports, air bases where they need air bases, right off our shore. What if they decide now to build an air base in Cuba? What if they decide in 5 or 10 years to do that? And we warn them they can't do it. What are we gonna do? Nothing. Nothing. The world doesn't begin and end today. You got to look ahead and start thinking about what the world might look like and have strategies and preparation for it. This whole thing about why are we in NATO? Why are we helping Israel? Why are we helping Ukraine? Why are we doing? Why don't we just pull out and do that? Suicide. When you have countries that are willing to fight, but they don't have the weaponry, they don't have the scaling in their industries against the opponent that's fighting them. They're fighting our enemies or our adversaries, but they're at least protecting the homeland here in the United States. We shouldn't be trash mouthing them like so many people are doing on social media, like it's no big deal, or pull out of NATO like it's no big deal. Stupid. Be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
LifeLock, during tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control, stopping off at payroll, your accountant or a tax preparer, and countless other data centers on its way to the IRS. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info in your W-2. Just a ticket for criminals to steal your identity. I had my identity stolen. It was horrible. I got LifeLock. I've been a customer ever since. I've never, ever had that problem again. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20% last year. Get LifeLock today.
I ain't logging into
They monitor
Facebook.
millions of data points per second to give you threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.
Fuck you,
restoration
Google.
specialist will fix it.
Dumb
backed by
fuckers.
the $1 million
I don't need
protection
fucking
package.
Google.
Restoration's guaranteed or your money back. Don't mess around with this stuff.
I can tell you what it's like to be a galley watch captain on a submarine. You have to feed, when you're at sea, you're going to feed 150 people 4 times a day, every 6 hours, because the watch changes every 6 hours. And then you have other duties you have to perform besides standing a watch, because somebody's got to drive the ship and operate shit. Weekend couldn't handle 1 day on a submarine. That motherfucker, he'd be UA so quick, unauthorized. That fucker would be AWOL, gone. Absent without leave. Fuck that, I ain't working there. Yeah, JC, you should come up and talk to me about Darren. I was on that panel a lot with that man. That's what's on my mind. That and Wolfie. Oh, fucking Matt Galligan's here. Jesus, fuck. Sorry, I don't mean to take the Lord's name in vain, but I do. When I get fucking, I'm always saying that. I probably. I think Jesus was a Yankee. He had to have been. There's no way he would have put up with her horse shit. I went there, but then if you want to watch the video, it's through Facebook and all that. And I just wanted to see what they had to read. There's nothing. Video. I don't really want to watch the video. And they have cross hall galley trains, New London, Connecticut. I did all my cook schooling in San Diego and in Charleston and on the ship. Yeah. I was in New London for submarine school, and that was it. There was no cooking classes. I had to learn about submarines. Damage control, firefighting, all that fucking shit. They're calling them culinary specialists. When I got out in 91, I was a mess management specialist, first class. People who ask, what is a galley on a submarine? What job is CSS in the Navy? Reddit, My Navy HR.
Show, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. on 105.9
WHM. Sweet home Alabama. Coming home to you. Keep on. Hey, Rocky, how long ago did I show the temperature? 5 degrees.
Are important to pay attention to. Now, why is that?
Maybe an hour ago.
You know, the American currency now is based on.
It's gonna be fucking cold tonight.
Faith and credit. It used to be backed by gold. That's why we had Fort Knox. Then that was outlawed, actually, changed by FDR. Then it used to be backed by silver. That was changed by Nixon. So it's not backed by gold. It's not backed by silver. It's not even backed by pistachio nuts. The paper just floats. And we hope it doesn't lose all its value. And yet Congress spends like drunken Marxists. They create inflation. What does inflation do? It devalues the currency. The currency is not backed by gold or silver. So what happens? Well, what's happening now? The value
Yes,
of gold
I
and
am.
silver go up. And people want to hold less paper. This is why
I started basic training
even
September 9, 1980, and I was released from the Navy on the 12th of July, 1991.
It's a smart thing to do. It's the sort of thing that many financial advisors, the best, tell you to do. What else are you going to diversify with, if not gold and or silver? In my case, gold. When it comes to gold, I trust Advantage Gold exclusively. They're
Definitely a Cold War veteran.
They have tremendous ratings.
On submarines.
I want you to call 800-900-8000.
Front line.
Gold investment kit. See how gold can help protect your.
Fuck you, Rum, and fucking Vanguard, and all you stupid fucks over there. Fuck you guys.
That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait. Call them right now. They're there. 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin said.
I yanked that second duty 214 out and fucking show you. I don't want to scare you.
You should always consult your financial and tax.
It might educate you, and then you fucking want to make fun of something.
When there's other things to address, we do it in the third hour. You can always check it out on your radio.
I gotta get something to drink.
Or
water.
Go to your favorite podcast platform and listen in. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Making sense of your world. I agree with everything you're saying. News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart just breaks for what's going on.
Making sense of the news.
LifeLock, during tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control. Stopping off the payroll, and help with a tax preparer, and from the data centers on its way to you. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info in your W-2. That's the ticket for criminal proceedings.
Oh, I got another couch.
Horrible. I got
a couch sitting right here.
The IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20.
Lay down, take a nap.
They monitor millions of
Relax.
Your identity is stolen with LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist.
I had to stand on my fucking feet for 18 hours.
Don't mess around with this stuff. They dealt with this for a long time before I had LifeLock. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Get LifeLock.
I don't know what's going on here, but that's that's why we elect people into office to take care of things like that on our behalf. And look what's happened. And fucking, they're sending money all over the fucking world. Biden administration. He got that Ukrainian lawyer fired. Prosecutor. All right. Hunter's laptop. Where are you, Mohammed? Mike Hunt. I see Mike Hunt's been posted. Who uses that name. I don't know if that's his real name or not. You guys, some of you guys do this on fucking purpose. There's people out there who actually like me and they just fuck with me because they know I'm good natured. Then you got others like Whippy. And fucking, I'm gonna use your mother's picture. My name is Rum. See, Rocky, see how there you look at it. There's that suck fuck Rum right there. There's that dumb son of a bitch. This fucking British guy. Why'd you just move to Palestine there, fucking Rum? Whatever your fucking real name is.
Making sense of the news.
This fucker in my chat.
I'm Lisa Lucero, Fox News. President Trump again calling out Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky as he works to end the war with Russia, blaming Zelensky for not going to talks earlier this week in Saudi Arabia.
You can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years.
President with the comments during a tech summit in Miami. This morning, Zelensky said he will need to work closely with Europe if the U.S. pulls funding.
I began to speak with European leaders. I began to make a decision, and I think that they will be ready about financing of our army. If I'm speaking, and just if United States will finance this army.
Earlier this week, the president.
I know I don't have anybody blocked in it, motherfucker.
Which Russia has demanded.
You're glitching this motherfucker? Or did you remove your comment? And I fucking changed. I think that's what happened. Because there ain't nobody blocked.
Everything from freezing rain to sleet and snow. By 6 p.m., snow measurements nearing half a foot were already reported in the northeastern portion of North Carolina. That's also where the highest snow totals are expected. They could get another inch or so more.
Fox's Brandy Campbell in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Meanwhile, about 100 million people in the center of the country dealing with extreme cold. One city in North Dakota with a record of minus 45 degrees. New York Governor Kathy Hochul taking legal action after the Department of Transportation rescinded approval for congestion pricing in New York City.
I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington.
Under the plan, drivers pay an extra $9 to enter certain parts of Manhattan. America is listening to Fox News.
Wants me to block him, and then he fucking removes his comment. I went to look up something in Google.
County is facing a potential budget shortfall of nearly $300 million for fiscal year 2026, with both tax increases and service cuts being considered.
Oh, Yee is one of the fucking British fucks. It's either Paul or Rum or one of them. That's their whole game right there.
Suggesting real estate tax increase of
It's probably it's them. I know it's them.
$638 more this coming. Fairfax County, like many jurisdictions, has taken a big budget hit in commercial real estate tax revenue from
Ain't nobody blocked.
Left largely.
I don't think I've timed anybody out yet.
Harper Britt, WMAL, and WMAL.
I don't think I have. Maybe Alvaro there that first time. That fucker's gotta lick my nuts as soon as I go fucking live every time. Alvaro, get a fucking life, you punk. Holy fuck. Open your own chat.
Is destroying years of progress into research really serving the American people?
The White House tells Fox News there will be close to 6.
JC actually likes listening to those guys talk dirty to her.
The people who stand
Fire, talking about JC being wet. Rocky, close your ears, because I can't help it. You know, JC doesn't have a uterus either.
One homeowner saw his bill go from $2,600.
Women, female problems when they get older, yeah, their uterus can fall out of them. Literally, yeah, the muscles get weak and shit. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're an employer and you hire women, your insurance costs more because they have more parts. Right? And there's no women on submarines, not when I was in.
In Montgomery County or in Prince George.
I had a couple of women in my foods class when I went into the Navy and went to school.
On 66 westbound in Vienna, traffic is slow between Nutley Street and 123. On 95 in Virginia, between the Beltway.
Charlie, I really don't care about that.
Northbound or southbound. And in DC on 295.
I don't, Charlie.
No delays are being reported there.
Why would you even tell me that? Why would I care?
Tonight, mostly cloudy, flurries and light snow. Minor accumulations south of.
Hey, Charlie, why don't you talk about how Wiggin and his little girlfriend sit there and fucking make up lies about Billy Hayden? Huh? I don't like that, Charlie. How about that, Charlie? How about Alicia's sitting there making snod remarks? She won't come up here and say them to my face. That fucker won't even have a side chat now. Charlie, you want to get underneath my skin? Keep posting. Because I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for a melody. I'm in the mood.
When it comes to working out, the same thing is true. You want the maximum benefit in the time you have. And that's exactly
I'm not reading that. I don't want to interfere with you guys. You guys go ahead.
Tonal's at-home strength training system uses adaptive weight to learn from.
Charlie, I should be mad at you, but I'm too fucking stoned right now to give a shit. I should go put my mug in the freezer and have a beer. It's a good idea.
The perfect blend of heart-pumping cardio and strength. Plus, the new built-in Smart View leverages a high-resolution camera that lets you see yourself during your workout, analyzes your movement, and provides real-time coaching, just like a personal trainer. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code Tonal200. That's Tonal.com and use promo code Tonal200 for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.com, promo code Tonal200 for $200 off.
9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
I'm Mark Levin. Our number 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. We're going to have great shows this weekend on Life, Liberty, and Levin, 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. Have you set your DVR on your smart TV in the way that
Supposed to be said, please do it. 8 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday. That way you never have to forget. Or if you forget, you never have to remember. Well, you know what I mean. So they're bringing out a conga line of buffoons, that is, congressional Democrats and their mouthpieces. And they're trying to come up with a line that they think will resonate about these discoveries of this massive fraud in efforts to actually do something about it. Well, it's okay to cut, but cut in the right way. They brought some clown on from the Atlantic who said, well, they're cutting employees willy-nilly. They're not even, looking at their records. There's 2.4 million people. And I'm sure many of their records are perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with that. We got to cut costs, or the whole system's going to collapse. They always have reasons not to do things. Well, who appointed him boss? Trump. Well, he wasn't confirmed by the Senate. Doesn't have to be. And who are all these 22-year-olds? 22-year-olds telling us how to run our country. They're patriots, like you. But they're coming up with every idea they possibly
Sorry about that. Had that turned down.
Give money to billionaires. What does one have to do with the other? Trying to save Social Security from people who are robbing it blind? What does that have to do with billionaires? They're good billionaires and they're bad billionaires. Good billionaires, Elon Musk. Bad billionaires, Soros and his son, little Soros.
It's like good drama and bad drama.
I mean, are we supposed to be judging people by who they are rather than, oh, he's a billionaire? Okay, how did he become a billionaire? Extraordinarily successful at what he was doing. That's how. People wanted to pay money for his services and products. That's how. Why is that bad? And where do you think he's putting his $1 billion? We talk about this all the time. Think it's in his mattress? Think it's in a closet? You invest it, and then you reinvest it. So money's available for what? For people to get mortgages and get car loans, and small businesses to get business loans. That money resonates repeatedly throughout the economy. It's not a bad thing. What, the federal government doesn't have enough money? We're just talking about $4.7 trillion that the Treasury Department cannot track. $25 billion in checks each year that the Social Security Administration sets out that doesn't get to the person it's supposed to get to, and they don't know what happened to it. What do I care if a guy's a billionaire? What do I care if they pay their taxes? What's the problem? Success is a good thing. These people are super successful. As long as they're not ripping off you and me, what do I care? Ted Lieu, Communist California. He's on the Constipated News Network. Cut 5, go.
CNN.
We have confirmed some of the cuts the Doge team has been making.
Well, that's Pamela Brown, not. But she's asking the question of Ted Lieu. Go ahead.
Besides what we were just discussing, like gender-affirming healthcare in Guatemala, teaching people in Kazakhstan to fight back against internet trolls, voluntary male circumcisions in Mozambique,
fighting back against internet trolls,
LGBTQI plus people in Serbia. Are these things that you think taxpayer money from the U.S. taxpayer money should be spent on? And how do you think taxpayers knew their money was going to these causes?
So happy to have a discussion on the funding of USAID and what some of these programs are going to. But what the administration cannot do is randomly increase the funding.
As like listening to
already appropriated. That's why we have an entire
Bud Noble.
Funny how he doesn't answer the question.
Bud Nobles.
Right?
Wow, that guy.
Funny how he doesn't answer the question.
That
you want to
voice.
freeze the spending.
How
It's
can
not
you
fun.
listen to
Freeze
that,
the spending
Angie?
For 60 days to examine what was taking place. Why can't they do that?
You're not like,
in the end, as long as the
I think I have a sexy voice or
But what if they
anything. But
find fraud? What if they find a 300-year-old?
at least I sound like I got balls.
Social Security. They're required to spend that money? Are they required to spend money on fraud and waste and abuse? The answer is no. Congress doesn't have a blank check. Congress has some limits to what Congress can do. It's not the all-powerful legislature that can do whatever it wants to do. That's not how it works. The executive is not, the president is not required to spend money on knowingly fraudulent activities, on knowingly wasteful and abusive activities. He's not required to do it. It's not a blanket impounding of funds.
But he's not required to be a co-conspirator in the abuse of the taxpayer. And that is what Ted Lieu is arguing for. That's what he's arguing for. Then we have Mitch Landrieu, who was a mouthpiece for Biden and kept telling us on TV how brilliant Biden is. But that doesn't bother the morning schmo. That doesn't bother CNN, MSNBC. They keep bringing the jerk back. Cut 6, go.
But what I found is you better not cut stupid. You got to cut smart, and you got to cut. The American public can understand this. Joe, you look like a pretty fit guy. You know, if I told you that you needed to lose 30% of your body weight, and I did it by cutting off your leg, you'd bleed to death.
All right, pal, you're actually dumber than you sound. All of a sudden, these people know how to cut spending. They never found spending they wanted to cut. They still don't find spending they don't want to cut. Get a softball question from Pamela Brown at CNN to Ted Lieu, Communist California. Doesn't answer the question. All platitudes. You know, Joe, you cut off your leg there, Joe. Hey, jerk, we're not talking about that. And so you got to cut smart, you see. And the very people who funded all this crap, who are the beneficiaries of this government within the government, this surreptitious government, who defend every inch of it, who defend every penny of it, who are willing to shut down the government if you continue to look and you continue to cut. There's a ton more cutting that needs to be done, ladies and gentlemen, a ton more. You know what's interesting about all this is what Trump is doing is he's cutting fraud. What Trump is doing is he's cutting money that's going to foreign countries, number one, for nonsense. Number two, he's cutting funding domestically for outrageous left-wing Democrat priorities because that's not the proper use of the tax money. EPA has a slush fund of $20 billion. Our buddy Zeldin found that out. Good man. And more to go to their buddies, to go to non-governmental organizations. In other words, radical left-wing front groups. They got more money than they know what to do with. You better cut smart. You better not cut stupid. It's like cutting off a leg and 30. Shut up, you moron. Again, from people who were never interested in cutting anything, let alone finding out what they cut. Then they bring this idiot senator from Connecticut, Chris Coons. I tell you, he's on these programs endlessly. Should be a senator. He's a media whore. And an idiot.
Media whore.
So there's Chris Coons. He's on CNN. By the way, why does anyone go on CNN? This I don't know. They have no audience. Why are you folks going on CNN and media and, and politics and so whoever you are? What's the point? What's the point? You're going on CNN. Go ahead.
A sweeping executive order I want to ask you about, which is essentially trying to pull under White House control.
All right, stop here. This is Kate Muldoon, I think, at CNN, who doesn't understand separation of powers or how the government works. So you have the executive branch, you have all these things. And she says, you're trying to control these agencies under the executive branch.
Time is it? It's starting to get late. 8:16.
And they're not controlling the agency.
And we're on the same timeline. You're Eastern like me.
Control over the spending, control over people not sure.
My hands are dry.
They're trying to save money so the country doesn't go broke.
I don't have lotion, but I got Vaseline.
That's the basics. And she acts like, no, it's Congress's job. No, it's not Congress's job. Go ahead.
That were created by Congress decades ago to be separate and independent.
Decades ago.
No. Oh, so stupid.
We're fucking 250 years old.
The question of the constitutionality of so-called independent agencies in the executive branch is a very serious question. How can you have independent agencies independent of?
I'll do it right now if you want, Rocky. I can turn this down.
Constitutional.
We can. I'm game for just about anything, Rocky.
The SEC is appointees.
Hell, I put a mug in the freezer. I'm gonna have a beer here in a minute.
The FTC has appointees. They're hardly independent. You have the FCC delivering over 200 radio stations to Soros. Wow, that's an independent agency. Don't look into that either. So here's what she's arguing, but she's too stupid to really be able to provide substance to explain it. Here's the argument, her fallback position. The executive branch cannot and must not run the executive branch. Congress, a separate branch, must run the executive branch. The courts, unelected judges, that is lawyers.
All right, you can go live if you want, Rocky. Go ahead, I don't care.
These independent agencies.
Yeah, go live. Fuck them. Go live, Rocky.
Pull them under the president, even though he is the president and in charge of the executive branch, and he's in the Constitution for this very reason.
It'll drive them crazy.
Go ahead.
CC, the FCC, the FTC, all looking, these are those agencies that work towards consumer protections and regulation.
Yeah, we're talking about bloated, massive amounts of money going out the door that have nothing to do with consumer protection. Does this woman not pay attention to
This is why I listen, though, Rocky.
Like a propagandist, and a pretty stupid one, too.
This makes me smart, well-informed.
I guess that's why she's on CNN. Where else would they put her? I guess MSNBC. That's about it. Go ahead.
Well, this was an issue I focused on in Justice Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings.
Oh, this is this guy, Chris Coons.
Yeah, look what they did to Kavanaugh. That was an awful thing what they did.
His head so far up
Fucking
his ass, it wasn't
these
even funny.
people.
This is a guy from not Connecticut. That's another Chris Murphy. This guy's from Delaware.
Oh.
He's the little
Dick Durbin from Illinois is the worst.
Stupid comment.
That fucking idiot.
This is why I opposed Kavanaugh. Oh, okay, right. I thought it was the the yearbook. I thought, no, this is exactly.
Yeah, I might be in bed by 9:30, Rocky. I got to get up in the morning.
And other conservatives had advanced for years, which suggests that the president should be much more powerful than I think the framers ever intended.
Really? Have you read Hamilton? Have you read Alexander
Just the
Hamilton?
voice, all I can think of is a 5'2", fucking 120-pound man.
Biden was close.
He's never really done anything
rulings and defying immigration law, and banging into
other than read a book.
The executive branch is a unitary branch. They created the president of the United States. It's interesting. There's a couple clauses they debated most. The one they debated the most was this presidency. There was nothing like it. They were creating it. They knew that if they made a mistake, it would be the end of the republic. This and the impeachment clause really got the most debate, but let's focus on this. This was a great debate, and they debated, among other things, well, should it be a shared power? They talked about a shared power between an executive and maybe a judicial council. No, they rejected that. Well, maybe it should be a shared power with maybe more than one executive, maybe 2 or 3. They said, no, that won't work. Well, maybe it should be a shared, this is all at the Constitutional Convention. Maybe it should be a shared power with Congress. Maybe there's a committee of Congress that went, no. They embrace separation of powers. They even talk about it in the Federalist Papers, Montesquieu, where power checks power. You can't have separation of powers and then hand everything over to Congress or hand everything over to the Supreme Court. That's not separation of powers. But that's why I focused on this with Justice Kavanaugh, the unitary executive. Well, if it's not a unitary executive, what is it? If it's not a unitary executive under the president, what is it? And show us where that what is it is in the Constitution. These people don't give a crap about the Constitution or separation of powers unless they can use them as a weapon. Otherwise, they try and destroy them all the time.
Fucking hilarious.
They don't want separation of powers unless it works to their benefit. They don't want federalism unless they support sanctuary cities. In other words, these are evil people who do perverse things with our Constitution. Go ahead.
In court overturns a decades-old precedent called Humphrey.
Shut up, you idiot. Now he's attacking the court. If they would just listen to me, Chris Coons of Delaware, if they would just listen to me, a pencilhead, if they would just listen to me, then everything would be right and constitutional. Give this guy the hook. I'll be right back.
What?
And Chris Coons has been around a while. That fucking guy is out there too.
IRS claiming you owe back taxes.
Yeah, you're one of the old time streamers, Rocky. Weren't you? Weren't you guys streaming before JC? Did you guys had your own chats going? Was that StreamYard when you guys did that, or was it just YouTube? I forget. It's been a while.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving in hyperspeed.
Fuck, I was never on the internet till 2017. I didn't know how to do any of this shit. I'd fucking learn it. All right, time for a beer.
But sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Mall. AmazonUSA.com. Sounding leather appointment seats are available features.
LifeLock, during tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control, stopping off with payroll, your accountant or a tax preparer, countless other data centers on its way to the IRS. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info in your W-2. Just a ticket for criminals to steal your identity. I had my identity stolen. It was horrible. I got LifeLock. I've been a customer ever since. I've never, ever had that problem again. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20%. Get LifeLock today. Don't get your identity stolen. They monitor millions of data points per second and alert you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, backed by the $1 million protection package. Restoration's guaranteed or your money back. Don't mess around with this stuff. I dealt with this for a long time before I had LifeLock. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Get LifeLock protection for tax season and beyond. Join now, save up to 40% for your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock, use promo code Bongino, or go to lifelock.com/Bongino for 40% off. Terms apply. Do it today. Now Taxes is using Credit Karma. A credit tax expert can do your taxes for you. A refund, so you can do more with it, right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Speak guaranteed detail. Contact guarantees. How's it going? Take my hand. Wow, you're not even moving. I stroke. When someone is through a stroke, they may not think it is, but they're
Parker, cold enough?
face stroke, arm weakness. Know the sudden stroke fast. Visit brought to you by the American.
Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea. They tried blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How did that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard too, folks. You don't need to pay $100 per person every month just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices. With a qualifying plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0. And yes, this is...
Yeah, I see in JC's chat posting there, come guzzler. Right, Rusty, who fuck? Rusty, you're pretty nasty sometimes, aren't you? Hey, well, look, Rusty, I poured a beer just for you, Rusty. Because Will Durant's been picking on you, and he played you screaming and shit. So I was just going to tell Rocky Goldman, we treat this place like it's the United States Senate. All right? There should be some decorum. You know, like this cum guzzler wants to come up in here and do that shit. No consideration for I might have family or somebody here. Back to JC's chat. Nobody wants to see that. Don't even know whose picture this is supposed to be. Not even sure whose picture that is. Is that? I have no idea. Is that you, Will Durant? Fucking cloning Rusty's grandmother, whatever. I don't even know the fucking deal there. I can tell you whose cum isn't getting guzzled is Randy. Randy ain't getting no blowjobs. Who's guzzling his fucking cum? Goo Goo Gotti. Goo Goo Gotti. Gotti guzzles Goo Goo. Is that you fucker? Well, here's to you, Will Durant. Yeah, let me turn Mark Levin back up. Yeah, he's on.
Don't even know what's going on. They're the foggiest idea. But they want you to believe. And so Chuck Schumer's on the floor of the Senate today, probably facing.
I didn't know it was.
Here he goes. Cut 9, go.
The FAA. The more Donald Trump and Doge indiscriminately hack away at public agencies, the greater harm to Americans' well-being and even their safety.
They're not hacking away at public agencies. They're hacking away at fraud, abuse, and waste. And this is my point. For a guy like Schumer, that's okay that money is being used this way, that it's so bloated. And so hacking away at fraud and abuse and waste to him is hacking away at the agency. He points out the FAA too. The FAA. So there's a crash in Toronto, and somehow that's Trump's fault. There's a crash that takes place at Reagan that has absolutely nothing to do with any cuts in the FAA. Again, the Secretary of Transportation has said, and they ignore him, but he's in charge. And he said, look, we're not cutting people in the tower. People who've been recently hired, yes, but not the other.
Champagne of beer. And it's not Miller Lite. It's Miller High Life. It's the original Miller. I grew up on that right there.
Tens of millions of Americans are turning off Fox and CNN and tuning in to Newsmax.
They had Utica Club in the freezer or refrigerator. Utica Club. Yeah, there's a brewery in Utica, New York. A couple of them.
TV or smartphone store. Download the Newsmax app for free and start watching. You'll get great shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and Carl Hayden.
Rochester's where the main brewery are, especially Genesee.
President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. So make the switch to Newsmax. Check us out on cable and satellite TV, or download the Newsmax app today. Watch us.
No, I haven't seen it, but Rocky Goldman was talking about going live, but he runs his chat different. He got on somebody. He doesn't want the attacks and all the bad drama. I don't really want the bad drama, but I'm going to deal with it. Rocky has a wife and kid, and all. He's got other things, so he ain't got time for your nonsense. I do. That's why I'm here. I'm the default chat. DA gave up. He quit. He quit streaming. It's not that he failed. Well, he did. I guess you could say he failed, but he quit. He didn't give a shit. He just almost pointless.
Call 1-800-LifeLock. Use promo code Bongino. Or go to lifelock.com.
Never mind.
% off. Terms apply. With today. Now tax is Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund, so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Into it, Karma with TurboTax.
Randall, why don't you just go back to Shannon's chat where you belong? Or JC's chat. Why you even bother? I mean, now you got Guitar J up there. And your friend JC's got all kinds of fucking new people. Yeah, you do. You belong over JC's. You had a wrench in there the first year she fucking streamed. You're all part of that debacle about wrenches. You're all part of that shit. You'll be kissing her ass again in a minute. You're the biggest fucking simp out here, Randy. You're worse than Vader. And I gotta include Will Durant in there. You're the biggest fucking simp out here, Randy. Nobody's been stuck up JC's ass more than you, Randall. That's a fact. You begged that woman, I got Billy's mother's picture, JC. It's the only weapon I have against him, JC. And you proceeded to disseminate my mother's picture. And these fucker thinks it bothers me. Even Rusty's got the best way. That's, that was her senior picture in 1954. She wasn't 16. She was 18.
So I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans.
And my dad graduated the same year, despite the fact he was almost 2 years older than her. Because back in them days, my father grew up on a farm. My dad's a farm boy. A big fucking farm boy. If fucking grab a hold of any of you fuckers, you wouldn't be able to fucking go nowhere. You wouldn't fucking lip off to him face to face. I'll tell you that right now.
Get to know the TV personality.
It is one specific storyline that lasts 14 weeks plus a couple reunions, and then
Yeah, he's retracting his messages. He wants me to see his message. He thinks it's going to do something.
I'm Lala. Follow Nathan on your platform.
Yeah, I don't know. Has she been streaming at all? I hope she's not mad at me. I mean, I was listening that night. She sang "Happy Birthday" to Colin C. I like to sing. I do. A great singer, but I like to sing songs. I like to make up words for songs.
It represents your value. Let me back these.
Excuse me.
Champion the need, faith, family, and freedom.
Yep, faith, family, and freedom.
Be me. You become a member, you gain access to the most
Yep.
incredible member benefits and discounts.
God, country, and family. They don't need to. They're all the same.
Products and services that you use. A long list: travel, insurance, rental cars, everyday services. It's just incredible, and it'll cover your de minimis membership fee the first time you use it. You'll get access and receive the award-winning AMAC magazine filled with all kinds of crucially important information. They have their own media platform. They have experts who can give you advice on Social Security and Medicare. And by the way, you don't have to be a senior to join and enjoy those benefits. So the Association of Mature...
Well, I know who goes to her stream, so I won't say it. All those women hang out still, though. There's Ginger, there's Rusty, Candy. I'm not sure if there was somebody else or not.
That stand for timeless American values.
Obviously, probably your wife, Rocky, right?
100 days in office. The Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC, is offering an incredible deal.
I'm not, so I,
Get ready. It's not going to last forever. Enroll in a 5-year AMAC membership.
Yeah, Rocky, I'd get along with anybody.
10% off.
Not a hard guy to get along with. Nah.
$1 a month for these benefits. Visit amac.us/Levin.
Keep trying to make me a villain, Wiggin.
Take advantage of this special offer, folks. It's not going to last forever. That's amac.us/Levin.
Time is it? 8:37.
Back and become part of a movement that stands for you. Get those great benefits while you can. You're going to enjoy it all. You'll wish you'd done it earlier. By the way, our family spends a lot more time in Baltimore because my stepdaughter, well, she's a doctor.
Is a stepdaughter.
The Little Italy in Baltimore is a fantastic place. There's a whole new sort of building up of parts of Baltimore. It's just beautiful. Great restaurants there. They have a lot of attractions that you really should consider. And you know, I've gone to national baseball games. I've gone to Oriole baseball games. I enjoy the Oriole baseball games more because I like their stadium better. I think it's set up better. I think there's more room to find parking and so forth. This isn't a knock on the Nationals. It's just an opinion with respect to the Orioles. And it turns out where we live in Florida, the owner of the Ravens lives about a mile down the road, Mr. Producer. Now, I'm not exactly in his community, you understand. But the owner of the Ravens lives down. And he shows up at local diners and restaurants from time to time. But we spent a lot of time there. Thought I'd mention that. It's very interesting. Great town. It's a bad rap from a lot of people. Let's take a few calls, shall we? Yes, we can. Let's go to Joe at Pennsylvania XM Satellite. Joe, go right ahead, please.
This is actually the first time I've been on the show. It's a great honor to be on your show.
Well, that's a young guy.
He's been on your show in the past for a few years.
Where are you from in Pennsylvania?
I'm from a town called Percy.
Percy, which is
or 40 minutes north of Philadelphia.
I know exactly where it is. I was just going to say, go ahead. Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to talk about, I've actually been to Ukraine during the war. My fiance is Ukrainian. I filed the paperwork for her to come over here because we actually were just friends at the time, but we became more with time. And she's been.
I hope Ginger's all right.
Mom, usually every day.
I don't wish fucking death on anybody.
And it's just
unless you're burning my flag.
Ever since I could vote,
you burn that fucking flag. It's an act of war. I have a right to fucking.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Let me guess. You're going to
I won't say what I'm thinking
against Ukraine, and this either open or backdoor support for a mass murderer like Putin. That's your question, right?
Yes. And also, my other question is, her parents are here, and she is here, and her daughter, and they're planning on getting married now for a few months. And it seems like I've read on the news now that if you were paroled into the United States, you can't file any forms for immigration.
All right, I have to be honest with you. I'm not an immigration lawyer, and I don't know what the status is of filing for parole, so I can't really help you with that.
But it wouldn't be filing for parole. It would be filing because we've been
lawyer talk.
Getting married for a while. And
no, but I said I'm not really up on this right now. I'm certainly not up on what's going on right now.
It seems like though it's crazy to me how much isolationism is going around. There's so much talk. It seems like people, it's flipped. They hate Ukraine now.
I don't get that at all. You won't hear that from me. Some of these other people, they're going to have to explain themselves. They never want to come on here and debate me. I tried to do that once with one of them, and it was really kind of silly. But no, I don't get it. I really don't get it at all. You're talking to somebody who's mostly of Russian ancestry, some Ukraine, but mostly Russian, and I don't really care. We've spent trillions of dollars since the end of World War II. Soviet Union, and now it includes, of course, Russia, China.
You like it? You like my backdrop?
That's a lot of money. That's number one. That doesn't mean we should be wasteful or frivolous with our money with any country, Ukraine or otherwise. But a lot of us see what you.
We'll cut him down.
Ukraine was
there.
Invaded that Ukraine.
There. Charlie. Did you see Queen T in Vegas, chat?
Yeah, who was that?
Well, there's two of them. Somebody's got one with a fancy Q. So somebody cloning her, and then the other one is her.
Well,
So why is so why is Tammy mad at JC? What's that all about? You know?
Something about JC being racist, from what I understood in Vegas chat. I don't know. Tammy's had me blocked like you, Billy, for the longest time. You know,
You'll see her.
I know you do, but I don't. I've only got one account.
She thinks, but she'll go in there and chatters, and then she fucking make her post that JC wished death on Darren and carrying on.
Yeah.
So here, let's take this phone caller. See,
Okay.
Never mind. Let's talk about Tammy. Hey, Tammy, why do you block me and then address like you're talking to all the chatters in Vegas chat? What is up with that? If you're going to be a public figure, you got to talk to everybody, right? Why are you going to block somebody? Then they want to say that I complain about getting blocked. Did you see how quick they made the avatar? I stuck my fucking, I went like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That was, Billy, you have to admit that's
doing that. There's Rum, Whippermantle, Dutchie, that whole fucking crew over there.
I don't talk to none of those people. I talk to Dutchie, the real Dutchie. I don't talk to Whip, and I don't talk to Rum. Rum's got me blocked.
Dutchie's in on it too, you know.
Well, every time Dutchie trolls me, it's always about my VA disability. Oh, Wiggin, not Wiggin. Billy, did you hear the latest news? They said under 20% and under for disability, gone.
Let's go to.
Yeah, I should be getting more in mine. I serve my country.
Yeah, you should.
I deserve double what I'm getting.
Well, whatever your disability is,
if I'd have given my life for my country, paid the ultimate sacrifice. You know, what was the SGLI when you were in Serviceman Group Life Insurance?
Yeah.
50 grand?
No, 100,000.
So it went up when you see.
Yeah. When we were over there, it was 400K. When we were over there, yeah.
Well, it's different. It's certain, but just the basic, all right, is 50 grand. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're killed in combat or something, the military, the Congress compensates the family for that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of issues, legal issues involved with it.
I'm sure.
So how about it, Tammy? Wasn't she just up on JC's panel kissing her ass a few days ago? She made her comeback. She was up on JC's panel.
Oh, I didn't see her. She was on her panel. I spend most of my time in Vegas. You know, if I'm not here or over at Wiggins, I'm over, at Vegas. I don't go around to other chat rooms much no more. It's just too much political difference. Too many political differences. Conflict of interest. That's what I'm trying to say, Billy.
I don't know. Can you have a conflict of interest out here? It's not.
Well,
it's not like it's in court. That was
that's just the way I look at, going to all these streams and everything. There's got to be a conflict of interest somewhere. I mean, somebody's going to have a difference of opinion, right, Billy?
Well, you bring the conflict of interest, Charlie. You do a good job at it.
Billy, I'm a diplomat. I tear down walls.
You're not a diplomat. You're not a troll either.
Oh my God, Billy.
Charlie.
Billy, that's like saying you're not a sailor.
Charlie.
What?
You're a failed streamer.
I have failed, but I do a much better job in diplomacy.
Why would you let Wiggin have full control of your chat when you open your chat? Why'd you do that? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about when you went live and what went down.
I can't
You know,
remember that, but I know Wiggins been trying to help you out.
Don't.
With
What do you mean you don't remember that? You weren't drunk, were you?
No, I just don't remember. It's too long ago, and it was a very short time I
What?
streamed. From what I can remember. Okay, hold on. From what I can remember from my stream.
Charlie, hold on. Charlie, hold on. Okay. Pretend I'm Wiggin.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, then you're
I'm
not
going to
going to
go
listen.
Step down
You're
now,
not.
Billy. We'll talk to you later, okay?
All right. See how that's done, Rocky? See what they're trying to do? You see how they are? See how it's I'm the supervisor. Fuck you, Wiggin. Do something.
Very much here. We'll be right back.
He's almost over with.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Is my link still there? It looks like it.
So you can do more with it, right in Credit Karma. Now, this is taxes. Into the Credit Karma with TurboTax.
I'll plug this phone in a minute.
Content. News Talk 5.9. Making sense of the news. Making sense of your money, the state of the economy, the ability to afford your life. That's what people want. Vince Colonnades, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. The kind of thing I pay attention to. Making sense of your world. No conspiracy theory. There it is. Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m. News Talk. Making sense of the news. Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life.
The proud, the Marines. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Starlight. Blowing out your birthday candles would be easy. If you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like these, talk to your doctor and visit COPDfoundation.org today. The Pockets Podcast Network is your housing. In so many ways. You can buy $1 million house. These are 4 cities that you can live for free in 2025. Get real talk from real estate pros. Strategies that work.
Rich people giving away their secrets, like how they actually make money.
It's my house. It's my house. Oh, bigger pockets. Listen on your favorite platform.
Matt Galligan asking CB if she's wearing bra and panties. I'll probably go to bed early tonight. I'm pretty sure it did.
When I first learned about the basics of estate planning, it was driven home to me the importance of protecting my family. We all know about creating a will or building a trust, but what people don't know about are how documents can be misconstrued if not properly.
Oh.
pretty little fella killed Jeb. You don't know this one's him. I do. I feel in my bones. What Ma told you. Feels like it's up to me to figure out what to do. What's that going to be? Give me some fun killing my brother. Grandma, she's busy. I'm Doty Ho. You talk to me.
Oh, I don't think I will. It's me like you want trouble and I don't.
You come here looking for the man that shot your brother, ain't that right? Well, you found him. I shot him.
Now you like to shoot me, huh?
You shot my brother, Jed.
He missed and I warned him not to try it again. He did and I had to kill him.
I figured it was you. I felt it in my bones. And it was a pretty little fella.
Pitching at 44, still throwing at 90 miles an hour. And the thing that has helped him the most is coming up with a change. He was a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball. Jimmy Court. Yeah, it's that thing came at him. And he's still pitching at 44, still throwing at 90 miles an hour.
Help you, sir? Hotel's filled to capacity. I'm sorry, sir. Your water's out there. Oh, by who? Check the register. Then you're mine. Room's taken. He's nothing but a wild, vicious animal.
What is this? Newsmax. Oh, fucking things are hopping. So far.
Randy. Here's one time. Randy Johnson is pitching. I'm bringing me off the bench and like the step. He wants you to do this. He's got a spring roll in it. It's not. It's like two thoughts.
Hey, subscribe to you, Rocky, on this one so I'll know when you go live. Drinking and dreaming. Waylon Jennings. Dave Chappelle. The shit they put on there. Going where the lonely go. It's all going to pot. It's all going to pot. It's all going to pot. Whether we like it or not. The best I can tell, the world's gone to hell and we're all going to miss it a lot. Leesburg, Tennessee. Tackle battle hit in the box. Merle Haggard. Bring me the news is a kicking up my shoes and it's driving me out of my socks. But let me tell you what. Best go Will, here's the deal. It's all going to pot. It's all going to pot. Whether we like it or not. The best I can tell, the world's gone to hell and we're all going to be hell. All right, last call for me. Then I might go to bed. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait. It's too much fun. Oh. I do have to. Tomorrow is food pantry day. I usually like to be at the church by 8:30. Gives me something to do instead of sitting here. I'm not going cross country skiing. I'd like to. I'm getting too old. I don't want to fucking fall down and get hurt. So yeah, last call. I'll post the link. Anybody want to come up for a minute or whatever? Get something started, maybe. I mean, it's only Wednesday. I'm not a bill to keep your pills on. It gets all going to pot. $100 bill, you can keep your pills, so it's all going to pot. I can taste that beer. Beer and Chinese dinner. Oh.
Hello.
Let me turn this off. So what's up?
Not a whole lot, Billy. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good.
Good,
Pretty
good.
Hey, how many views did you get the other night? Did you look?
I think the last time I looked, Billy, was 138, maybe.
Yeah, I can look now.
Yeah, it was over 100.
You check it out.
And I think I had like maybe 5 or 6, 7 thumbs up, maybe.
135 views. You were only there 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
You did a movie night, the first one, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. So, Rocky, how many people you figure between? You remember from Gramps and Jujubah and CNN? How many people you think are in here doing this?
I might have to think on that one. I know maybe just off the top of my head, Billy. Just a rough figure. I'm thinking probably at least maybe 10 or less, maybe more than that. But I'm thinking right around maybe 10 or something.
Between streaming and all the side chatters is what I'm talking about.
Oh, you talking about the overall picture?
Overall participation in all these all the people that are doing this. Yeah, from Vegas to. Do you go to Venice Beach? Have you been in that Venice Beach chat?
No, sir, I have not.
So you don't know anything about it?
No, sir.
Right. That's where Relentless and all that crew go over there. Gulfster is, Weston, and a lot of them people are from Dougie's chat. I met them all in Dougie's chat back when I met Zenny.
Gotcha. Well, if I had to guess, Billy,
there's got to be at least 100 of us anyway.
Yeah, I would at least say that,
it's
just
gotta be
thinking.
at least 100. Yeah. There's got to be at least 100 of us.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to nail it down, but just, thinking off the top of my head, I would say that was roughly a good estimate.
I mean, there could be 500. I mean, sometimes, certain chats, they have, like Newsmax.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
that gets crazy there. But
yeah.
that's not really a private stream. Well, they're not, they make themselves public. So,
Right.
I'm talking JC, Rusty, you, everybody that stream, even Logical, I don't even know. He could be streaming and nobody knows.
No, that's true. That's so true.
You can stream and nobody knows,
Right.
And then, now I have noticed Logical hasn't been posting in Vegas. If he is, he's not using his bots. That kind of come to a halt for some reason.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I haven't been in Vegas in the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I want to go more towards the what is it, the White House stream.
Yeah, I go in there, Rocky, and it's so commercialized, and that Todd Heiser and all them are in there, and I'll be in the middle of trying to type a thought, and the commercial will pop up, and I'll sit there with a couple extra devices, and it's like I don't know if they can target that or not. But I
Right.
know they can program that fucker to do, pop-ups or whatever, but then commercials come on and you got to hit so you can, I'm trying to type something and they're running a commercial every
Right.
3 seconds,
Yeah.
And
That's
so it really is commercial. So when you go in there, you just, everyone who's doing that chat, you're making them money by going in there. Now, I
right.
don't mean you, but all of us.
Everybody,
You know?
yeah. Right.
And I see fuck you is in Vegas chat, right? I'm gonna go fuck with the Libbies in White House chat, like he's some this thing is going on with Wiggin and all that shit. These guys are just
Yeah.
You can't get away with it. You can't get away from it. The chat politics. So it's useless now for me to even go to White House chat.
Yeah. I went to White House chat a few times, and then I went to was it Newsmax? It's about the same as White House because you have commercials popping up. I mean, it's interesting topics about things, but yet I can't deal with the commercials, dude.
Newsmax is that's actually they're supposed to be like a news station. It's not like going to that White House chat.
Right.
It's Earth TV.
Mhm.
Or wherever they got their cameras. Because somebody's got to take care of the cameras.
Right. Yes, sir. But yeah, I got to where I've not gone into a Vegas chat much. I'm
What
trying
other
to.
chats? What other public chats? The New York Times chat. And Vegas has several different chats that they. It's Vegas. And you got people claiming who set that up and everything. And, somebody's got to take care of that camera in Vegas also.
That's right.
Yeah.
And New York Times Square, I haven't been in there in a while.
I haven't been there at all.
It seems like it's pretty much dead.
Yeah, it's dead. Nobody posts there. And if you do, all you're going to get is trolled.
True. So true. But yeah, I'm thinking more. I want to focus more on my channel and my streaming. I'm learning a lot of things, which is self-taught, and it's slow, but I want to try to promote more of my channel. And that's one reason I want to go, or I started that coffee table discussion, and it seems to be going pretty good so far. I've had a lot of good feedback on it. I've had a lot of views, as you can see. So yeah, I want to focus more on that, and also I want to give people the opportunity to, if I post a chat, they can come up and voice their opinion about things. Not getting into a debate, but just voicing their opinions, which everybody's allowed to.
Well, there's a way to have a debate without wanting to slice each other's throat. So treat it like it's the U.S. Senate, right? You did the other. Who was they call me gay. They want to call me gay or whatever. And you come right down on them in that. So you weren't going to take their bullshit. It's the trolls. And there's at least a 50% chance that it's Wiggin doing that.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it's like we're all people.
Yeah, and you haven't really been hanging out in the chat. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I see what's going on more than you do. I mean, because you got wife and kids and all, and then they learned, a lot of our military members marry women from overseas and bring them home.
Yes,
and that takes money to do that.
Yeah, it does, and
You had to get permission. You had to get permission from your command to do that.
Yes, sir. You have to do that, and then you have to deal with 2 damn governments and all that kind of stuff, and wondering about how to.
I had quite a few friends that one of them his name was Melvin Mitchell. He was a black guy.
And I bet, back in the day, Billy, I always said, oh, I'm never going to find a woman. I'm never going to be married and have children or whatever. But I ended up eating those words.
I got married at a very young age. Might as well say I was married at 17.
Wow.
I was 19 when I did get married.
Oh my goodness! Wow, you was young.
Yeah.
I
was only in the Navy. I don't even think I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy in September of 80, and I was married on May 1st in 1981.
Wow! In 1980, when did you say you joined? Was it May?
I joined the Navy in August of 80, and I left for boot camp. Yeah, I joined the 20th of August, and 9 September I was on my way.
I had July 26th of 1980, I turned 11 years old. So you got a few years on me, Billy.
I'm still young. I'm only 63.
This
day and age, 63 is still young.
Yeah,
people are living to be 85, 90 years old.
Well, I'll tell you, Billy, if the good Lord lets me see my next birthday, which will be in July this year, I'll be 56.
My brother was born in July.
Oh, was he?
On the 31st. My brother was born on Mom and Dad's wedding anniversary.
Really?
My parents were married in July of 54. Yeah.
Wow.
My brother was born on July 31st in 59.
My goodness.
I was born in 61, so there's not many years between us. We're pretty close.
Gotcha. My birthday's July 26th. So me and him both a Leo then. And my wife's birthday, mine is July 26th. Hers is July 27th of 1971. So I'm 2 years and 1 day older than she is.
Yeah.
That's amazing, bro. But
So what do you're doing the coffee table? So you just whatever, like what we did the other night, because politics is the hot topic.
Exactly.
You can't separate the two. You can't separate current events from politics. And
you can't.
You can't.
They go like peanut butter and jelly.
You have to talk about politics,
right? And I'm getting educated every day. I used to be. Hold on a second, Billy. All right, I'm back. But yeah, I back in the day before I got all into the politics and stuff, I was oblivious to it. I was like the follower of the mainstream media. I didn't know any better, and I take it.
You were around. Who was the guy that was broadcasting and he had a couple of fights in the backyard somewhere? Remember that?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I do. Vaguely.
Zero gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Remember that handle?
Love that name.
Zero gives a fuck.
Yeah. But yeah,
zero fucks given, I think is how he had it worded. Zero fucks given.
I remember, I was part of that.
I know you were.
Yeah, and I didn't know no better because I didn't.
Remember. Yeah.
I had no knowledge of it. But one day I got to the point of I started questioning things. And then whenever I questioned things and would ask people in chat about it, they started attacking me. Well, blah, 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 whatever it was. I forget what the hell it was. But anyway, they started attacking me. And I said, well, I just want to know. I'm curious. And whenever I went to find out, it was more crap. And it was like, well, why has it got to be like this? Why? And then I started looking at things, and I stepped outside the box and started questioning things. And once you step outside that box and you look at things differently, because we're all, to me, we're all educated by the public. Most of us is educated by the public school system. And that is one of the worst systems there is. I have to say that.
Well, you know, where you went to public school at, like, you know, I went to public school and I live in Governor. It's the Governor School
Right.
District. It's a public school.
Yes, sir.
All right. But it's, you know, I'm not in the inner city. So they're not representative, you know, they're not all the same. The stuff they're teaching in Chicago public schools, down in New York City, okay, California is worse. Look at the dumbness that comes out. But they have some of the smartest people, and they're rich. They have the largest economy.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, the farming in California.
Oh God, look at the income that brings. You know,
that's a good life.
Yeah. But I remember
you see me out there picking fucking grapes, and I'd have a joint in one hand, fucking picking grapes with the other.
You'd have a ball, though.
A bucket, fucking picking grapes, smoking a joint.
you'd be filling them damn buckets with grapes, bud.
There was a time I couldn't smoke it when I was in the Navy. You couldn't do that shit. They'll fucking kick you out, take your dolphins and everything.
Oh my God, man. But yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes you have to step outside the box and look back in, and that's what I've done. And then I started learning things about things that pardon me, history.
That's what my problem is. I guess I should have just fucking went along, should have just been dumb. Right. And when Jarl Wiggin comes around, just, okay, Jarl, I'll start calling myself Sergeant Billy. You see Sarge come into my chat? Is he still around?
I don't know. I seen Sarge earlier. Then I had to go do some things.
I let him. He come up and he fucking left because I was poignant with him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sarge and everything. Me and him never had a crossword. But
he likes to troll me, you know, him and Wiggin. I'm their favorite person to troll, Rocky.
Right. I never troll nobody. But you know,
it's not against the law.
No, it's not. You know, it's definitely not.
I don't see it. It doesn't. Right? You see, they had money for research. People are having trouble, you know, how to deal with internet trolls.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. You know, you remember a while back, Billy, whenever we first met, it was like, I think it was like 2016?
It was when the Gramps and Juju bot chat.
Yeah.
Chats were up.
I know that because
it was before JC ever started live streaming.
Yeah, because I remember I think it was around 2016. It was November when President Trump was going around doing the crowds.
Yeah, it was the fall of 17. By January 2018, I was definitely in on the CNN chat. But it was before that. It was the late fall of 2017 when I entered the chats.
Gotcha. I knew it was right around that time, Billy, because at the time before I went into Fox 46, I came from RSBN, and there was things going on in RSBN. I mean, RSBN is a good.
They're still up, I believe.
Yes, sir, they are. And at the time, I went into RSBN, and I got to know the owner and everything, and you know, he done a lot of things that was really cool. I liked his transparency. He had a good group, but he was independent. You know what I'm saying? He was just doing it out of his pocket. And there for a while, President Trump noticed RSBN, and he started talking about RSBN. And so I stayed with RSBN for the longest time. And then there was one moderator on there. Of course, they had many. There was one moderator on there, JC, J and C. Not JC, but JC.
Yeah.
And he was a master sergeant down at Bragg, and he was in Operation Enduring Freedom. And I got to know him and everything, and then he was a moderator, because according to the story, he was in another chat, and the owner of RSBN went there and seen that JC was giving him hell, about Trump and everything, sticking up for him, and so he offered him a position as a moderator in RSBN. And
Now,
Sergeant,
did they ever get paid for doing that stuff?
I don't think they did. I think it was all voluntarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sergeant JC,
There's a way to make money doing this,
Yes, sir.
I mean, Tiffany's monetary.
Gotcha.
I'm not welcome in her chat, so my money's no good over there.
Understood, Bo. But Sergeant JC, he was Bragg. He was a red hat. And he packed chutes and everything. Good man, good soldier. And he would.
That's
he
quite
was,
a job, huh?
Yes, sir.
Packing parachutes.
Packing parachutes. And he took his job as a moderator seriously. He was fair, but he was stern. And I mean, there would be many a time there would be a troll that would come in there and start some crap with me, and I'd start crap back at him. And Sergeant JC come in there and said, EQ. I said, yes, Sergeant. Total line. Yes, Sergeant. So I backed out. I stood total line.
Yeah.
And then that other guy, he ended up mouthing off at Sergeant JC. He timed him out. He finally came back, and he started again. And Sergeant JC said, I done told you one time. I done timed you out. He said, don't make me time you out again. And then he calmed down. And he said, now you guys make up. And so I virtually shook hands with the man, and we started talking like, we was old college buddies.
Yeah.
But there was certain people there that did not like the way JC was moderating, if you follow me.
I went in the chat a couple of times. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. I forget, what would they broadcast? He broadcasted something.
He was broadcasting at the one time. I remember.
Who the hell was RSBN?
Jay Seals. His name was Seals, and his father actually played in a country band back in the day. I forget what country band it was, but it was their last name was Seals, and he had a brother. I forget his name too, but their last name was Seals. But yeah, he the owner was at one time had a collaboration with some other independent news media. I think at one time it was Officer Wayne Dupree, and then there was another one, or was it Officer Tatum? Might have been Officer Tatum. I can't remember. It's been so damn long ago. And then there was a couple of others, and but it didn't quite work out. And what kind of turned me against? It didn't really turn me against RSBN, but some of the folks that was in there, because
I forget, it's wild. I went in there a couple of times, but I didn't spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, it got to the point to where whenever
if I remember seeing you there. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a
long time. But yeah, Sarge, he was stern, but he was a fair man, fair moderator. But sometimes whenever he would get worked up and start getting attacked, even the mods would tell him to calm down, and he would go after some of the mods. And his wrench got taken away from him many times, but it was always given back to him. And then they just finally took it from him.
Do you pay attention to Gotti at all?
Not really. I mean, about half and half.
That fucker. Listen, he's in Vegas chat right now.
Oh,
he says he posted that it's Shrek night at JC's.
Shrek.
They're all watching JC's, making fun of JC. Right? He blocks me. If he knows it's me, if he sees my name, he blocks it.
Right. Well, I've talked to
do you know the story behind that? He was in here at first for a while, Rocky.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I treated him pretty good.
Yeah. I just lost track.
I do that. I know you were talking about over there. RSBN. I remember going in there, but I didn't spend a lot of time there.
Well, it got to the point to where I seen how they was treating.
There was a couple other moderated chats that I went in there and it didn't take them long to fucking time me out. Fuckers.
Yeah, I got away from RSBN just because I seen the way they was treating Sarge. I mean, they would, they gave him a wrench and told him what to do, and he was a man to follow orders. You know what I'm saying? And it was like whenever he would do something, and some other people was, like friends of somebody in there, they would say something. And
one person will pick a fight with you. One person will start a discussion with you, an argument.
Right.
And you rebut them, and then your friends step in.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Listen, fucking Gotti. Gotti, I know you're watching. All right. I gotta do this, Rocky. I really do, because Gotti, he's not. I can't let him get away with it. Okay, now he's posted. He's posted in Vegas. Let me turn the light down on this fucker. All right.
JP.
Okay, yeah, you should be able to see it.
Yeah, I see it, sir. Squidward. Who is Valentine Ed Vader?
That's Vader. That whether it's Romeo Cross, whatever. He's the one that Wolfie. Right. Well, Gotti. Nina dumped JC because she is anti-American fraud. So Gotti is hot and heavy on JC.
Wow. I think the world of Mina or Cam. I always called her Cam because, whenever I met her, she was going by Cam, and then she went by Mina. But I've always called her Cam. I think the world of Cam. But yeah, whenever I started leaving RSBN, I was scanning things, and then I come across Fox 46. And so I went in there and kind of hung out for a little while just to kind of get the feeling of the area, you know what I'm saying, the situation. And I started talking to people in there, and a lot of them I got, welcomed by them, and I felt more comfortable in Fox 46 than I did RSBN. And so I said, well, okay.
That's where everything really started, was in Fox 46.
Fox 46.
That's where all of us as a group really met.
Yeah.
Now listen, JC's in Vegas, okay, and Queen T is there, and JC posted telling Queen T to go back to Africa.
What? Ouch. Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow.
JC, you're in Africa, look at your panel.
Wow.
I'm not looking at JC's panel.
Right.
I was earlier.
Wow.
So JC's telling Queen T to go back to Africa.
Wow. That's shocking.
Queen T's never been to Africa.
Oh my
goodness. Queen T's a Yankee, born and brought up in Cleveland.
Oh, so she's from Ohio then.
She's from Ohio. Yeah, she's a
gotcha.
Yankee. She likes to say y'all.
Y'all. My goodness, that's what we say down here.
Froggy, she was up on Jason's panel one day, And she made the claim that she'd been voting Republican all her life. You know, I sat there listening to the chat, and then she finally said that. I couldn't take it. You know how I was mad. So I hit the link, and up on the fucking panel I went, right? And this wasn't really very long ago, a couple of years maybe. And so I got up on the panel, and Tammy, what Republicans did you vote for? Oh, she matter to fucker. She could name one.
Wow. My goodness.
She's a Trump hater.
Yeah, I've come across a few people like that.
Remember Clarence? Remember Clarence Thomas?
Clarence Thomas.
His nomination to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Well, in the Senate, they brought that Anita Hill in, and he sexually harassed me. Put his pubics on my Pepsi can.
Yeah.
She had nice lips. It danced like a black girl should. Brown sugar.
My God.
Yes. Oh, I like me a nice fucking nappy headed fucking hole. Yes.
Yeah. Hold on a second, Billy.
Yeah. I'm about ready for bed.
All right, Billy. I'm sorry about that, brother.
Oh, you're all right.
But yeah, whenever I first went into Fox 46, I mean, people think that was it Vegas is rough. They should have been in there with us in 46.
Yeah,
brother.
because it was 46, and then while that was operating, they put up a Vegas chat.
Yeah.
They advertised it, and then that went down, and then they brought it back again. And for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, they, ever who it is over there, Dirty Laundry, Feline Fees Boyfriend, whatever, that whole fucking group over there.
Right.
They it was hardly anybody there. They got all them subscribers, but anybody that goes in there, everybody's got 10 accounts, and they're all subscribed to it. So one person have 10 subscriptions.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember 46. I remember vaguely some of the people that we met. Mostly, you remember what was his name? Scott Sinclair. And then there was another Scott from Texas. I forget his last name and then there was
I think
Scott
it was
Canning.
Scott Sinclair. I think it was him. There was somebody. There was somebody there. He was actually, because people in JujuBot would go to that other chat, Fox 46.
Right.
And so we actually we're texting back and forth. He had my phone number and that, and his son joined the Navy and was training to be a submarine sailor.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing about
Scott. I think it was him. Scott is in Washington. He's on the West Coast.
Yeah. I think he passed away though, Billy.
I don't know if he did or I'm not privy to that.
I heard from a few people that
I've seen people talk about it, but
yeah. And now for real, I don't know, but I'm just going by what was
that phone number. That's long gone. I changed computers, several times since then.
But there was 3 Scotts. There was Scott Sinclair, Scott Cannon, and then that other Scott from Texas. I forget his last name.
Yeah.
But we had 3 Scotts, and then we had what was that one guy's name? Shit, I can't call it now. It's on the tip of my damn tongue. Snark. The Snark. He was from Maryland, and he was a rough troll there for a while, and he kept starting on me. And we'd go at it head to head, and
there's somebody else from Maryland that lives there. They live there, or actually from there. Is Siberian Gal Pal.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I know who she is. Talked to her a few times. But yeah,
I lived in Maryland.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Finksburg. You know where Finksburg, Maryland is?
No, sir.
It's just west of Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
It's just outside of Baltimore, not very far.
Well,
And I worked at the Towson Golf and Country Club.
Gotcha.
I got hired.
Whenever you was in the Navy, Billy, was you ever stationed at Norfolk?
Yeah.
You was? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the first ship I was on was actually I wasn't stationed in Norfolk.
Mhm.
My ship was in the shipyard at Newport News, Virginia.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I was stationed on the USS Kazimir Pulaski, and it was in the shipyard.
Gotcha.
I lived in Norfolk. You ever been there?
I've been through it. I've been to the
Fort Eustis.
I've been to
That's the Army base there.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've went through because back in the this damn train
They got
passed.
tunnels there. You can't.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
first time I went through to Norfolk, I went through the main tunnel. Woo! I'm telling you, I thought about all that water above me.
there's 3 or 4 tunnels there. Hampton Bay Bridge. There's one right in Norfolk, and you got the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Actually has 2 tunnels, and it's like it's 17 miles. That bridge goes across ocean water.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember going through one tunnel.
That
buddy,
weather
and
there, they can get some heavy winds. Nice
I remember
place.
I remember a buddy of mine back at about like mid 90s. Maybe it was like 94, 95.
I got married in Norfolk, Virginia.
His daughter, she joined the Navy and she was stationed at Norfolk. And he asked me one day, he says, "Hey, I got to take Jessica back." He says, "Do you want to ride with me?" I was like, "Oh, ride with us?" I said, "Yeah, I'll go up there." So we actually, went on the base and everything. And my God, it was so cool. We passed a aircraft carrier, and I mean, it was right beside it.
Well, I took my in-laws right down. You go down, see the subs and everything.
Oh yeah, man. It was awesome, Billy. I will never forget that. It was I mean, I really didn't realize being next to an aircraft carrier how big that motherfucker was.
They're huge.
I mean, in a car.
Hey, listen, the USS Carl Vincent was on the opposite side of the pier from my ship in the shipyard in Newport News. That's where it was built.
Wow.
And I was given a tour. And so for the enlisted, it has 7 different galleys. 7 different kitchens. Then you got the chief's mess, you got the wardroom, you got, the captain of the ship, so, and that's a flagship. An aircraft carrier has a flag officer on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're at least a 1-star or higher.
I know that damn aircraft carrier was huge, man. I'm telling you, it was big. And I think if my memory serves me correctly,
1,200 feet.
Whew.
At least.
God darn, that's
1,200 feet.
It's a floating city, man.
Oh yeah, 1,200 feet, 5,000 people. That's what I didn't want to get stationed on an aircraft carrier.
Whew. Can you imagine how many times you would have to feed the crew?
I didn't want to be a cook on an aircraft carrier.
Oh God Almighty, Bo. Well,
I would have if the Navy had sent me there.
Right.
But I fucked them all up. I volunteered for submarine duty.
Well,
submarine duty is voluntary. So let's get this straight with Patrick Rowe, because he doesn't like me saying that submarine service. Yeah, they're a special.
It's special. Force. It's special. I knew a guy that
they're an elite group of people. Yes, being a submarine sailor, you might as well be airborne or something.
Exactly, because I used to work with a guy that was stationed on a sub. And whenever I started working with him and found out, that he had served and everything, he was actually from California.
So he talked shop with you then?
Yeah, he was actually from the West Coast, California, stationed out there. Right around, I think
now, what did he do? What was his job? You remember?
I can't remember, Billy. All I know that he told me was he was stationed on a sub, and it was out in California. And during the earthquake, where I think it was late 80s, early 90s, where they was having the baseball game and the earthquake happened. He said that he was in, he was actually had to go in to help with the rescue and effort and everything out there, and everything. I think he was stationed. I want to say San Diego. Is that that's not far?
San Diego has a sub base. Yep.
Okay.
There's sub base in Subic Bay up in Washington. I don't know Portland, but I know Washington it's Subic Bay. There's a submarine base. Submarine base in Hawaii. Norfolk on the East Coast, we got them all up and down the coast.
Right.
Groton, Connecticut, Norfolk, Virginia, Charleston. They refit out of Kings Bay, Georgia.
Gotcha. The only one I ever known was Norfolk. That's the one that's basically stands out for me.
Yeah, there are a lot of submarines that float in out of Norfolk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Norfolk's a big bay because you got Newport News Shipyard. You got Norfolk Naval Base. Portsmouth, which is right there by Norfolk. There's Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. There's a naval shipyard there also.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Whenever I think of the Navy, I just think of
Jeff Holler wouldn't have a problem finding a job if he wanted to. I mean, working in a shipyard isn't really that easy work.
Right, but it's a job.
They make good money.
Yeah.
I made friends with a couple of shipyard workers when I was there. Oh yeah.
But talking about my buddy,
Welders are great people.
Welders are good people. But going back to your statement about what's this guy's name that you said oh shit.
Oh, I throw out a lot of names.
The one that what's his name? You just said it. The one that gives you hell about the special forces thing.
Yeah,
him.
Patrick Rowe.
Yeah, him.
Oh, he probably in JC's chat yucking it up.
I do know that whenever I was talking to my buddy, that was stationed on the sub at the time, he told me a lot of things, that I didn't know because I wasn't in the Navy, and he was saying like sometimes, you board a sub. He said not knowing where you were going, and he said you'd spend maybe 90 days at sea, and you leave, say like Norfolk, and end up in Japan.
He was on a fast attack then.
Yeah,
he didn't ride boomer boats. I rode boomer boats. The schedule's a little different. The fast attack submarines, they are our ultimate warship. Yes, they are. All of those Tomahawk missiles that were launched when Trump was in, he'd fucking bombed the hell out of who it was there. Was it fucking, I forget wherever he fucking threw all the missiles.
Right.
The Tomahawks. Yeah, they're sidewinders off of SSNs.
Wow.
I rode SSBN, and we had the Trident boats that carry the missiles.
Right.
No, they carry them Tomahawks. They supersonic. They what'd they say? 61 or 62 of them that he used. Who were the two jihadists that Trump took out when he was in the first term? Soleimani, fucking Yabba Dabba Doo. I don't fucking remember the names.
I can't remember them fucked up names, I mean, damn, I do good to remember my name sometimes. But but what he told me, made sense. He said whenever you're on a sub, you get I think he called it hazard pay or special pay or something to that extent, Bill.
There's several different types of pay. Like you're in the Army. So if you go in the Army and you volunteer, I want to be a Ranger, and you go to school and you make it through school, so you get jump pay, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you get hazard duty pay? Is there EOD in the Army?
I know that whenever you go into combat, you
Obviously, because you guys deal with explosives, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta have Army's gotta have somewhat equivalent of our EOD team.
Yes,
There's
sir.
3 types of SEALs. 3 types of SEAls. Fleet diver, EOD, and I can't remember the name of the other one.
Gotcha.
SEALs.
Yep. Well, I know that.
All right. EOD is explosive ordnance detail.
Mhm.
That's a rough job.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a dangerous fucking job.
Yeah, I knew a guy like that. I knew a guy like that that was on the squad that dealt with explosives, and
Oh,
you know,
and if you're in actual combat, which the Marines and the Army are going to be on front line shooting bullets or whatever at the enemy, you get combat pay.
you
for
get
that.
combat pay. Yes, sir. So yeah, whenever he was telling me about that, about the special pay because you're underwater, then if you're in combat, you have the combat pay, and then all that kind of stuff. And I got thinking, I was like, well, it makes sense. So yeah, Roe.
You get your basic pay. Now, if you're nuclear trained, you get an extra one.
Mm.
But there's your basic pay, but you get sub pay,
Mhm.
and you also get C pay. Those are 2 different types of pay.
Gotcha.
All right. So, like surface ships, you got to be like E4 and above to get those.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Submarines a little bit different.
Gotcha.
And if you're a nuke, you also get hazard duty pay. You get or nuke pay. So on top of the C pay and the sub pay, being a nuke mechanic or electrician because of where you're working, that reactor is a dangerous place.
Yes, sir. And I knew a guy that I worked with, good buddy of mine, a couple of years back, or about 3 years back. Unfortunately, he's not here with us now. He passed away this past December, was 2 years ago. I really miss him, though. But I'd known him for a while, and he was in the industrial maintenance at a plant, and I needed him. We was doing a project that I needed some help with, and so only one I could think of was Jimmy. And so I contacted him. I said, Jimmy, I got this thing going on that I may need some help with. He says, I said, would you be willing to help me on this project? He said, yeah. He said, what's it about? And it was wiring up some of fly fans. Like there was this ice cream place, and whenever you open the door, the fans come on, and everything. And I'm not an electrician, but hell, he was a maintenance guy. He knew hydraulics and wiring and all this kind of stuff. So I thought he would be, good to help me. He said, yeah, I'll help you. So I told my boss man, and he's like, yeah. He says, if you're confident in him, I says, I am. And so at night we would have to go up after they closed to work in the ice cream store.
Yeah.
And so whenever the job was done, and he went to my boss man and says, was going to get paid. He didn't even charge him. He didn't charge my boss man. He said, I done it for Rodney. And he's like, oh, cool. He said, well, I'll give you something. He said, no, I done it for him. He said, you don't owe me nothing. So eventually, that was like in November of 2021 or 21, I think. And the job that he was doing was at a pharmaceutical plant, and he would do things, and I think there was some tension there. And so finally he quit and actually got a job with me. And he was hired like March of 2022, maybe. And he worked with me up until that December, whenever he was found deceased. He wasn't but 38 years old. But anyway, yeah, he he was telling me things, and he was a CB. You know, he was
My
very
recruiter
smart.
was a CB.
Oh, really?
Construction electrician, he was.
Yeah.
And when I got to boot camp, my boot camp instructor was a construction electrician, CB guy.
Oh, wow.
And then when I went to recruiting duty, the
Mhm.
guy that did the processing, he was an E6. He
Right.
was a construction electrician.
Really? Wow.
Right? The MEPS is in Syracuse. Because
I
I spent 3.5 years on recruiting duty.
Gotcha.
I made it. That was a trip being on recruiting duty.
My goodness.
Many
Well,
years
Billy,
ago.
I got a question for you. Whenever you was at sea and you had to cook for folks, y'all, whenever you had something like dairy, I know you couldn't carry a lot of stuff like fresh fruits and things like that because
Right.
I guess of the space. But whenever you had stuff that called for dairy, did y'all have like powdered milk and powdered eggs and things
Yeah,
like that?
non-fat dry milk's been around forever.
Oh,
Shit,
gotcha.
I grew up on non-fat dry milk.
Gotcha. I was just thinking.
My mother, when you didn't have I grew up on non-fat dry milk.
Gotcha.
That's been around forever.
Yeah.
Non-fat. And when you bake, if you're doing it from scratch, most bread recipes call for non-fat dry milk.
Ah, okay.
You don't really want to admit it.
Gotcha.
You need to use it. It's a tenderizer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just wondering about that.
But submarines they carry a shitload of cheese. You can take eggs, but things like lettuce and tomatoes and
Right.
milk. That's the worst part about submarine duty is the 30-day refit.
Oh, really?
Before you go to sea, getting ready to go to sea, those first 30 days, the work it's a killer. Because
Wow.
the cooks, you're constant, milk is a high usage item. So you're
Right.
constantly running up to the tender to bring groceries down.
Right.
It doesn't take long to, 150 people. When you're during refit, you're not serving a mid rats. When you're at sea, you're serving the mid rations because you feed every 6 hours. The
Gotcha.
watch changes every 6 hours.
Yeah.
But when you're in port like that, you're not. You're not at sea, so you're only going to be serving breakfast. Now we did, for the most part, serve a light mid rats and that. I still night baked during refit.
Gotcha.
So submarine sailors eat the best in the military.
Gotcha. Yeah, they got some good food. I gotta admit that.
That's their main morale. That's the person's main morale.
Yeah.
Having a good meal all the time.
And I remember.
So I'm in the service industry. There's still those sailors are still customers. You don't want to make them sick,
Right.
You got to treat them right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be spitting in their food because you don't like them.
Right. And I'll tell you one thing: the food is a morale builder. You know what I'm saying? You got good food, man.
Soldiers can't fight on an empty stomach.
No, they can't. They can't. And that's one way of having good morale is good food. I do remember come Thanksgiving or Christmas, man, we had some
I've been
awesome
at sea
food.
on Christmas several times.
Oh yeah, we had some awesome food, man. It brings everybody up, even though you're away from your family and friends and everything, and you're with your military family, but it's not like being with your family.
Right.
But still, having a good meal and good fellowship and things like that, it made it a little bit better, but not much, but it made it a lot palatable.
I'm about ready for bed.
All right, Billy. Well, I'm going to let you go, brother. I appreciate you letting me up and
you're welcome.
having a chat,
Yeah.
And
they left us alone. Now one person posting in the chat fucking with us at all. EQ.
It was a good chat, Billy.
Fucking, I'll be back later. EQ, have a good night, buddy.
You do the same, sir, and hopefully I might stream. I put my stream off until tomorrow night. So maybe,
I got you subbed a couple of times, so you go live, I'll know you're live.
I appreciate it, Billy. All right,
All
sir.
right.
You have a good evening and rest well. Salute.
Later.
Salute.
Salute.
Later.
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
All
I'm
right, brother.
tired. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Bye, everybody. Hiring a kite, but I'm going to bed.